What's up? What's up? What's up? We're live. As y'all can see, we got Native Voice here, Prepper Tribe.
What's good, everybody?
A few more people jumping on here shortly, I hope. Let's see. Well, we got some people in the chat tonight. Good Lord.
Cheer.
Prepping Artist, Yankee Watchdog, Mrs. Metal, Coffee First, Kiss Off, Pilgrim, Kevin Ramsey. All kind of people in the chat. Down the rabbit hole.
Salute.
We got a chat
Going on,
room
man.
full.
Some hungry people, man. That's right.
Hungry,
Brothers.
tired, confused. You know, it's just and it's like, what the hell? And for those of you on the chat, yes, I do know this is my first actual content video / live stream I put out in probably over a year. Dave and I were talking about that because it's been a year. I just been canning food and working on making t-shirts and hoodies and stuff. But after Tribe stream last night, fucking lit a fire in my ass, and I've been thinking about this all night. I was dreaming scenarios about this shit last night while I was sleeping all day today, and it's just, I was like, man, I think I'm just gonna go live and just talk about this, at least get my, I don't know, the shit that's going through in my head, because I think it's a little bit different than some people. It don't mean it's right, but it don't necessarily mean it's wrong either.
Right.
But, I mean, what do you two guys think? I mean, this is like a serious fucking situation. This just isn't like an immigration thing. This is a serious global impact thing, is what I'm feeling.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild.
It's all part of their plan, man.
I think it's one of the most serious things as far as this country with its own people that I've ever seen happen. You know, within our own system of whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
100.
You know, I was gonna do like, you know, and hey, everybody in the chat, I would go top to bottom and say hello to everybody, but I ain't had this many people in the chat room in a long time. I got these two celebrities up here with me, and they brought their crew with them.
Salute.
Welcome everybody.
What's up, y'all? Appreciate y'all,
first
man.
time hanging out with me or whatever. It's been a while since I've been, you know, engulfed in the community and the drama and the politics and stuff. But you know, fuck it, I got some time on my hands and I'm kind of pissed, so I figured I'd vent. But you know, I'd planned on, you know, having a bunch of different what if scenarios and just asking you guys, what do you think they're doing this, or why do you think they're doing that? And then the more I got to thinking about it, I figured I'd just come on here and just out of my brain just say why I think they're doing what they're doing, and then you guys just agree, disagree, rip it apart, correct me where you think I'm wrong, add caveats to it or whatever. But this is like, this is some shit, man. This, I mean, if you really sit back and think about it, they did a slow burn. They did a slow burn, a little bit of headlines, a slow burn, a few more people. They were doctoring the numbers, so nobody really knew what the fuck was going on. And now it's to the point to where either, number one, they have to acknowledge it because it's in our face, but there's still this narrative being spun, and it's like people don't understand. Angela B, thank you very much for the memberships. People just don't understand what this whole migration thing actually entails. I mean, coming from somebody that, you know, I spent a lot of time in Panama when I was in the military, and I spent a lot of time in the jungles not too far from this place they call the Darien Gap. And they mentioned it on TV, and it was in the documentary the native shared with us. And let me tell you what that place is like. Even in the documentary, it didn't show the Darien Gap. It showed the back side of the Darien Gap. It showed the downhill part, basically. The reason why the Darien Gap is famous is because, all right, there's one reason why there isn't a road, why you can't drive from Alaska all the way to the tip of South America. And that one reason is the Darien Gap, because they can't build a fucking road through it. There aren't any roads through the Darien Gap. There isn't a road from Colombia to Panama. The Darien Gap's the reason that all the cocaine coming from Colombia, 99% of it was on planes and boats and submarines. It's because they couldn't get it across the fucking Darien Gap. You don't just walk across the Darien Gap. I mean, you like words can't express how fucked up that place is. I mean, it's a triple canopy jungle. The terrain is it's like scaling the Rocky Mountains. It rains every single fucking day, and you're talking inclines and declines like this with water just pouring down off the mud. I mean, there's literally places that you physically can't maneuver through there. And in the documentary, it showed where the 3 routes that they offered were 3 routes that started with a boat to go around more than half of the Darien Gap, and then you land on the back side of the Darien Gap and you walk into Panama. Yeah, there's a reason why they took those boats. It's not impossible, but it is a number one, you can't physically carry enough food and water to make that trip on your own. So unless you can purify water, and there's plenty of water sources, but unless you can purify it and you can ensure you're drinking clean water, you're just gonna fucking die. If you twist your ankle or break your leg in the Darien Gap, you die where you fall. There is no chance of rescue. There is no medical. There's nobody's coming to get you. Even if they knew where you were, they physically can't get in there to get you out. So it's a massive, massive undertaking. And the more I thought about it, watching that documentary and a whole bunch of news stuff today, I'm especially that documentary when it shows all those people walking, humping, and every now and then you'd see a female with a child, and every now and then you'd see somebody, but it was mostly 80% of the people in those videos, 85 to 90% were military age male. And the thing is, to come from, say, Venezuela and to take the land route, you have to be fucking super, super desperate to do that. You have to literally commit yourself and your life to doing that. And the dangers, what's going to go on. You're walking the entire way, most of the way, riding the trains, the buses, whatever, if you can afford it. Because if you can't afford to pay the toll, you're not fucking getting on. They made it look easy in the documentary. Oh yeah, you pay and you ride the train. No. If you can't pay the smugglers and the dope man to get on their transportation, you're fucking hoofing it. You're walking. And you're talking thousands of miles. And the one thing that really got me thinking about it was you're seeing, and the numbers that they're putting out, the most up-to-date number I've got right now, 22 million people in the last 3 years come across. 22 million. So if you just say 10% of those 22 million were from Syria, Afghanistan, and these crazy places, 10% of 22 million is still 2.2 million people that are bad guys. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not 10%, maybe it's 20%. That's 4.4 million military age males with a questionable background, possible terrorists. We've done no backgrounds on any of them or nothing. So let's just call it, let's go in the middle. Let's say 3 million. There's 3 million bad dudes that have just walked across the border. Now, everybody's like, yeah, we're America. We got the most powerful military in the world. We do. But here's the problem. We only have 1.4 million military members right now. That's 475,000 active duty. We have less than 500,000 active duty military. That's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and Space Force. And 350,000 National Guard. So you put those together, you get 1.4 million. That's our military force. We're looking at 3 million, twice our military size. That's only if it's 15%, 20%. So, I mean, we've literally been invaded by a military force that's larger than ours while we're overseas doing other dumb shit.
Right.
It's like, oh my God. And then you look at all these people, 22 million. I mean, that is the perfect camouflage. You every 4 or 5 people is a military age male mixed in with these families and these kids. And I'd probably say at least 70% of the people that have come across the border in these convoys are legit trying to find something better. Legitimately, like your heart goes out to them. Legitimately, my heart does. It goes out. If you're in a shithole and you want to come to a better place, and then all the news you're getting from the New World Order and all these companies that are down there setting up these tents and campsites and hotels and feeding you and clothing you and giving you maps is that Biden wants you to come. He's the second coming. He's the greatest thing on the planet. Come on up there. And oh, by the way, once you get into America, you're going to get a phone, you're going to get money, you're going to get a place to stay for free, and you're going to be able to vote. Well, who the hell do you think they're going to vote for? They're going to vote for their safety. They're going to vote for their safety.
Doubt.
The one that brought them in here. So, I mean, I legitimately feel bad for a majority of the people that are in these convoys, but there's a way to come across the border legally. What's up, my brother Hutch?
Cheer.
When you look at the numbers, and then, oh my God, this dude on TikTok was killing it today. The Eagle Pass. Fuck Eagle Pass. He flat out said, fuck Eagle Pass. You got a few miles along the border where all of a sudden everybody's focused on Eagle Pass. What about the rest of the fucking border? And I got to thinking about what he was talking about. And this whole Eagle Pass thing and the governor being a hero, he's been the governor for several years down there now. And he just now decides to do something about it. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking this is the machine throwing us a bone. You know, that we're playing that game. Now, everybody's getting excited about America, and we got a governor standing up for us, and he called out the National Guard, and these other states are calling out their National Guard, and these other states are standing up for him because he's doing this great, courageous thing for like a 12-mile section of the border. And I'm like, fuck me, man. And I fell for it. I'm like, hell yeah, Eagle Pass, that's where you make your stand. It's the only area that's being contested right now. The entire rest of the border is fucking wide open, by the way. But it's just Eagle Pass. All the cameras are focused on that. And that's where the razor wire is. And that's where they're, you know, stopping everybody. And that's where the women and children are drowning in the river. And how the fuck's that our fault? They were on the other side of the river and they were dry and safe. You chose to try to swim across that motherfucker with a 2-year-old. Not me. You know, not Trump. But it's all about Eagle Pass and the National Guard. And what if he federalizes the National Guard? And can he? Of course, the president can federalize the National Guard. The problem is the National Guard in Texas is made up of 100% of people that live in fucking Texas. It's literally Texans. You're asking Texans to bear arms against other Texans. So even if he does federalize the National Guard, Texas has a thing called a state guard. It's about 2,000 members strong right now, but the governor can open and list anybody he wants and just accept anybody he wants into his own guard. It's called the Texas Guard. Florida has one as well. And the Texas Guard is right about 2,000 people right now. And it's made up of all veterans, ex-police, you know, medics, doctors, things like that, that can be called to active duty by the governor at any time. So if Biden did federalize the Texas Guard, the ones that are, you know, at Eagle Pass, which is probably a couple of companies, if that, I doubt an entire battalion, probably just a few platoons, then the governor can just bring the Texas Guard in. I'm sure he's already made the fucking phone call. They'll just walk right in there and do the same thing. And here's the catch is, they're not under any federal laws. They report directly to the governor, only the governor. Joe Biden has no jurisdiction over those guys. So in my mind, we're sitting here looking at a globally funded mass migration replacement. I mean, migration, we're looking at it's globally funded. I mean, there was, in that documentary, there was support from 6 or 7 different nations, including the Red Cross. It's globally funded. It's back. I mean, they have maps.
Before you go too far, I want to tap into something you said a couple minutes ago, man. Yeah. The things that we're seeing, you know how there's people out here that posting stuff and they're like, look, this is, you know, a half a mile from Eagles Pass or whatever it's called. And look, this is wide open, blah, blah, blah. And look, there's these other places and they're showing these places. But if you notice, when they show these places, there's nobody there. There's nobody crossing in. There's no guards. There's no people coming across the border into those places. Like, it's just barren land. So I'm not sure we're getting the real story on that shit neither. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Well, and then plus,
let me say one more thing real quick. Something that I think they tricked us with the last couple years. If you notice, man, we haven't heard anything about Texas being overrun and not being able to handle the people coming in and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, there's a border crisis and stuff like that, but it's not really Texas, right? Only thing we've been hearing is, oh, they're sending people to New York, and New York is crumbling because of it. So what does that do? That makes the people on the right say, well, shit, that's good, man. Let them flood in there. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like they tricked us into saying it's okay to have these people come in because they're making us feel good about the fact that it's hurting the liberal places that we don't like. Because they did it with the garden place too, where the rich people go. What is that place called?
Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, they talked about that and made it a big deal that they dropped them off there. And what did we all do? Yeah, man, that's cool. That's fucked up. That's what they should be doing. But all the while, they're tricking us, making us feel good about a situation that we should be like, no matter what, this has got to stop. It's slick, man. They're slick as shit.
And the messed up part is all the information we get is the only information we're getting is from mainstream media, and they're spinning everything is a narrative. So unless you know somebody that's down there, it's like I wouldn't appreciate that the migration that they're doing from South America, except for the fact that I've been down there and I know what the fuck that entails. I could not imagine trying to make a trek across the Darien Gap with a 2, 3, 4, even a 10-year-old kid. I couldn't imagine doing that myself. And I've been down there. I couldn't imagine doing that. That's why I'm like, this is the perfect camouflage. I mean, you've got a humanitarian crisis where these people, and they legit want to come here. That's why my heart goes out to them. But there's probably a good 20, 25, maybe even 40% of them that are fucking dirt. They're the ass crack of humanity. There's no way in hell they should be coming across our border, and all they're doing is mixing right in with them and flowing right across. They're just coming right on in.
They on a mission. They on a mission for some cruddy shit.
Yeah, and it's dude. It is a globally funded mass migration. It's population replacement. It legitimately is. I mean, you've got 22 million undocumented border crossers in the last 3 years that are all going to be voting Democrat. Now, luckily, most of them are going to the cities that are already fucking blue, so that's not going to hurt too much. But it's the cities that they're going to that were kind of purplish into some of these outlying towns. I mean, there are a couple of kids in my school right now that I'm having to deal with that I know for a fact are not from here. You know what I mean? Which is another issue, all because our system, the way it's set up, our education system, if a family immigrates here and they don't speak English, their kids come into the school, they don't speak a word of fucking English, but yet they're assigned classes to where they can't do the work if they don't speak English. So basically they sit there and it's up to the teacher. I have to come up with a complete Spanish to English version translation to them. And basically they just get whitewashed through the school system. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out if you come to America and you don't speak English, your first year of education, you should spend in a classroom with a whole bunch of other people that don't speak English, and you should learn you can learn how to speak enough English to get by in school in 1 year's time. And then when you come into the classroom, you're not holding everybody else back.
Let me ask you this though, man. Have any of y'all seen? Okay, we're talking 22 million people that weren't here before, and they flooded into here. Why aren't we seeing shit tons of videos of people like, look at my neighborhood now. Look at this beach. Everybody's got a phone. Everybody's got a camera. Why aren't we seeing any people putting out, like, if my neighborhood got overtaken by infiltrators, I would damn sure film it and put it out there. And we know tons of people want to make noise on it. Why ain't we seeing tons of footage of where these people are? And even the New York stories and shit like that. We're not seeing pictures of a bunch of immigrants. We're just hearing the story. And they show a truck with one like Mexican family standing there or something.
Right. And it's the same. I mean, that's why I guess where we're not getting footage from the war in Ukraine. Like we got footage in Iraq when there was a war,
But that's a little different. That's a war. We're talking about just normal streets with everybody having it. We're talking about America. Everybody got a camera phone.
I believe you,
A lot
but
of the
look at
ones
what they
I've
did to
seen,
us. Look at what they did to us when COVID came out. If you put if you tried to put content on YouTube that went against the narrative, they shut you down. Like with COVID and the jab and all that stuff. I mean, now it's okay to talk about it somewhat, but I mean, I don't know.
Part of it is the Border Patrol has been processing them. They immediately catch them, put them on buses and planes, and fly them to all these different sanctuary cities and places unknown. They're sending them to camps that we don't know about. Y'all remember last year? I think it was Fox News that did it, or Daily Caller. Somebody did an expose where they took they followed the buses to the airport to try to find out where they were sending these immigrants. And they're putting them on military posts. And you can't just film shit on military posts. Ghost, you know that.
Yeah.
And but there are videos out there. I watched one yesterday. I think I sent it to KC. I might have sent it to you, Tribe. Remember, it was in Chicago. It was in the airport, and they had half the airport blocked off with like black curtains. And if you went behind the curtains, it was full of immigrants. Yeah, all on the floor. Like they're out there. They're trying to hide it. They're doing everything they can. And there's so much shit going on, man. We all know this. There's so much going on all the time. World War III's happening. Israel and Gaza, Yemen, China and Taiwan, Chinese weather balloons. All this is going on all at the same time. You know, people are distracted. People trying to get grocery and shit, and put gas in the car. It's happening, man. It is.
Believe me,
because
I in no way was saying that it's not happening. I'm just wondering, why is it that it's being, and how is it that it's being so hidden from us from seeing the fucked up shit? I know it's happening. I mean, come on, man. We got the government going against our state. We got our federal feds going against the American people, man. This ain't no joke. But I just it boggles my mind how fucking slick they are, man.
I'll be honest with you. You see more watching TikTok, because it's pretty much unregulated right now. You can see a lot of really fucked up videos on TikTok. But honestly, I think YouTube just shadow bans all that content. If you put content about immigration and the border and stuff, I think YouTube's just not sharing it out. Same way they've been doing to us for years.
You can see a lot of those videos have it to where they've got private security around the buildings and the buses that are bringing these illegals to different places, to where there's no interaction with the actual community itself. They're keeping them isolated and hid as much as possible. Like, they don't even want them coming out to do grocery shopping or none of that shit. Everything is getting delivered to them so they can keep that isolation between the illegals and the actual population to build that divide.
Yeah, I spent the better part of the day and most of my sleep last night because like when somebody says something or does something to me, I automatically try to figure out what their end game is. Why, if I don't know you, why are you being nice to me? I want to know why you're being nice to me. I don't give a fuck that you're a nice guy. I want to know why you're being nice to me, because I know I'm not that nice of a motherfucker that people want to hang out with. So usually when I meet people, especially a stranger, I want to know why you're doing what you're doing. And the only thing I can come up with this border thing, guys, and I'm willing to stake a whole lot on this. I honestly think it's obvious that it's a global effort. It's a global effort that's been kept quiet from a lot of people. It's a global effort. They're forcing them in. The borders are wide open. Biden's not in control. He's just a puppet. He's going to be in the dirt before long. They know it. He knows it. Nobody fucking cares, because he's a patsy that's never going to get brought to court. He's never going to get punished. Like, when he drops, they can just blame it all on him. It was his idea. He did it all. It wasn't us. Let us come in there and try to help fix it. Oh, yes. How do you like my blue helmet? But the whole...
Why are they doing it?
Honestly, the entire world is ready to erupt right now. The entire world, save the United States of America, is ready for a one world government. They're ready for a one world currency. They're ready to be told what to do, how to do it, when to do it. They're ready to hand over their guns if they haven't already done that. The entire world is, except for the USA. And the only way that they can metaphorically disarm America is, number one, to sow dissent, which they've been doing that for years with the black against white and the BLM and all that bullshit that's going on. But now, if you can influx 3 million military-age males with fighting experience, most of them ex-convicts, several of them with ties to ISIS and everything else. If you can, we already know 22 million come across the border. They have literally have more military-age males have come across the border illegally, over 3 times the size of our entire military. That's active duty and National Guard reserves. More than 3 times the size of our entire military are in the States right now. Spread out all the major cities, a lot of the minor cities. What happens if they already have a date where they're just supposed to start showing their ass? Because we know they're not going to be held accountable for anything in court because they're not supposed to be here any fucking way. They're just going to, they've already set the precedent not to punish people. If you're a Democrat, you don't get punished. If you're a Republican, you go to prison forever and you spend time at Guantanamo Bay. I think there's going to be a kickoff date. I think something's going to happen where they get everybody in place. Right now, they're just moving pieces around the chessboard. Once they get everything in place, there's going to be a signal or a trigger. Something's going to happen, and all hell's going to break loose. Not just in New York City or Dallas or Miami or LA. I think it's going to be nationwide in every single state that matters. There's going to be insane civil unrest. There's going to be bombings. There's going to be shootings. There's going to be all rape, murder, robbery. It's just, they're just going to give them the signal to just go wild and tear shit up. And it's going to completely.
Think about the hot mic, though.
Oh, yeah.
I talked about last night in the live stream. Biden saying that because he specifically mentioned, you know, those cowboys disrupted me bringing in all these military age men. Everyone's focused in on the F-16 thing, but he always says that. I was more concerned about him saying we're bringing in these military age men because that's what they were doing in the documentary.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands of them.
Look, can't, if you're not physically fit, I'm here to tell you, I'll look everybody in the chat dead in the eye. If you're not physically fit to a pretty good standard, you're not walking across the Darien Gap. I don't give a shit if you're in 100 perfect physical shape. You're not walking from one end of the Darien Gap to the other without help from somebody. You just can't fucking do it. That's the one place on the planet that you can go and legitimately fucking disappear. There's no law. There's no nothing in the Darien Gap. It's fucking, you're on your own. And
when you're being the fucking cartels and all these other places are paying the escort fees to get you through, you ain't got to worry about a whole lot. You know what I mean? And
even in the video, it shows they do a boat route around 2/3 of the Darien Gap because they would lose over half the people that walk into that motherfucker if they started at one end and tried to walk through the entire thing. I mean, it's no joke.
Let's not forget that the UN is sponsoring this shit too. You're talking about United Nations, not just one little country over here helping them, or just like Venezuela help. We're talking about the United Nations backing these people coming over there.
Who is it? Who is it that pays most of the United Nations bills?
Yeah,
we do. And taxpayer.
It is a globally funded population replacement. It's a means to a one-party system. There's not going to be any more Democrat versus Republican independent. It'll be a one-party system.
I mean, what do you think human trafficking is?
Exactly. And it's the messed up part is they're already here. And I love the way Trump says it'll be the largest deportation event ever in history. That it is going to be legitimately impossible. Here's the part that messes me up, guys. When Trump came out and called for more National Guard to go to Texas, I'm like, in my mind, I went, oh, you just fucked up. Because they've been trying to pin insurrection on you. They've been trying to pin it on you, but they couldn't do it. Now, all Biden has to do is to declare martial law and say that the Texas border is an open rebellion. And Trump, you've just admitted to supporting and helping orchestrate an insurrection. And they got him by the fucking short and curlies. Done.
See,
there is
I'm
no
about
election.
50-50 if Texas is a psyop or if it's something that could turn into something.
I don't trust the governor for shit. I think he's part of it.
Yeah, I've never been an Abbott fan. Like Tribe was saying a while ago, everybody thought it was fucking hilarious when he was busting these sons of bitches around. And anybody who's been watching me, I've been saying the first time was cool, the second time is some bitch shit. You know what I mean? Okay, we get it. Why are you sending them to New York when they need to be going that way? You know what I mean? That kind of shit.
Exactly.
So like I am not an Abbott fan,
guy.
but I am extremely happy that he's doing something. I'm kind of hoping that the small little area that he is trying to control, even though it doesn't seem like physically a lot of shit, the legal battle and all the other bullshit that comes along with it is the same kind of intensity as if it was a 300-mile stretch of border that they were trying to hold.
Right.
It's the fact
Well, I
that he
think,
started the ball rolling is what I'm happy
yeah,
about.
that would
You know
be
what I mean?
awesome. But see, I think one of the reasons why Eagle Pass is so important, or at least in the narrative, you know, even on the maps and in the video, it showed 12 border crossings. And there's a reason why they're called border crossings. I mean, there's some areas of the Rio Grande that are safer to try to swim across than others. I mean, there are some areas of the border that are easier to cross than other areas. And I think they picked the 12 easiest crossings, and Eagle Pass is like the fucking red carpet's rolled out.
It's a place to make a statement. It's like, hey, we're doing this. What do you want to do about it? You know what I mean? So it's the meaning behind it, I'm hoping.
And let me say this too, man. We all know that in war, communication is key, right? It's a huge thing when there's war. Well, there seems to be a war going on in America, and right now, America is being flooded with information about everything that's happening at the border. There's probably so many people that had no idea how bad this thing was. So at least what's going on down there with Abbott in Texas, at least it's sparking the word to spread like wildfire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And here's a flip side of that coin. What if they're doing the same fucking shit they did in Jan 6? What if they put the word out to see who's in support of this guy in Texas? Now you got all these state governors signing on the letter, people sending troops. Now if they declare martial law and an open insurrection on the border, they just made 26 states accessories to insurrection, which means they can vacate those offices with the stroke of a pen. Your governor's gone. They can put somebody in there. They legitimately just let everybody. You remember that one scene in the TV series The Vikings when the dude was having sex with Ragnar's old lady and they weren't getting along very well? But anyway, he said, everybody that wants her dead, put your mark on the post so we have proof and we know where your heart lies. So everybody that went up and put their mark on the post, he executed them. He literally said, he asked in a roundabout way, who's my enemy? And they all fucking stood up and got shot. That's the same thing they're doing here.
Let me ask you this too, man. If you wanted to turn America blue, if you literally wanted to say we want a one-sided system from now on, what's the number one place you would have to hit up and turn blue and go hard on? And it would be very hard to turn blue, you would think. Texas.
Yeah.
It's like the heart of the right. If you just think about history and the mind of guns and people being free, and so maybe at the same time as others, they can have more reason than one, but maybe another reason is, man, the more them motherfuckers flood into Texas, the more that motherfucker turns blue, and the more we got a handle on that motherfucker.
Oh yeah. I mean, because they've already passed legislation that non-citizens can vote in several cities and states across the country. So I mean, that is the easiest way for a one-party system. And here's the thing: they love Biden. They don't love him because of his politics or because anything. They love Biden because he said, "Come on in." He threw the border doors open. He's giving them money, giving them a phone, giving them a place to stay for free, and we're paying for it. It's not costing the government a fucking penny. We're paying for it. They get free health care, fucking 9 yards. They're gonna vote wherever the fuck you tell them to vote.
Well, you figure no matter what, this would have to go to the Supreme Court for a final, boom, this is the decision, this is law kind of thing anyway, before even militias or something like that would even get called in to question. You know what I mean? Because until the Supreme Court actually gives a final answer, neither one of them is breaking the law. So it's kind of, if somebody rushed down there right now on a personal level trying to be fucking Rambo, like, I'm going to protect Texas, and you do dumb shit, that you're a felon, plain and simple, because nobody's called you up to do anything. You know what I mean? The legal process has not been breached yet. So that's where it's kind of like Abbott is taking the lead to where he's like, okay, we need to get the ball rolling because we can't do shit until the Supreme Court makes a final decision to tell us if we're wrong or if they're wrong. You know what I mean? Because if you start a revolution or a civil war when you don't have any courts backing you at all, you're just setting yourself up for failure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of these states are just waiting to see how the court case plays out with Texas before they step up and show their ass to be like, okay, now let's do something. You know what I mean?
I think the sleeper cells that we're watching being put in place is not only for some signal, like Ghost said, but also it has a lot to do with voting, buying votes, getting that turnover. But I read an interesting article today that Biden said, well, I will go help and I'll enforce what I'm already supposed to be doing, which is protecting the border and American citizens from any harm, if you give me another 100 billion or whatever it was for Ukraine. So he's going to do that step first and get a few more virtue signal votes and get a few more people excited that, oh, it looks like he's doing something for the border, but it's a contingency. It's bribery.
Yeah,
I'll
ain't
help
that illegal?
if you
That's
give me this.
illegal. Right, Roots? That's illegal.
Yep.
You can't blackmail the American people for money, saying you're not gonna secure your own border unless you give me this money. That's strong arm robbery.
Yep. Exactly.
I mean, that dude should be immediately arrested, snatched up out of that office, and all hell should break loose.
But I mean, here's
I mean,
the thing.
within the politicians and shit and police and legal courts and shit. I'm not talking about hell breaking loose like with
look
us.
at all the illegal stuff he's done since he's been in office, and there's no repercussions. But if it was a Republican, oh, you're going to jail.
Oh, could you imagine if this man?
That's why this next year is super vital, because there are literally hundreds of people looking at potentially death sentences, if not multiple hundreds of years in prison. They have to do something drastic, because as soon as they get out, all the repercussions of everything they've done over the last 50 fucking years is going to come back to bite a lot of these people in the ass. So they have to fight like fucking hell, scratch and claw. There is no rules when you're looking at death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why they don't want Trump in there.
I promise
they
you
don't
right
want
now,
Trump in there. They scared to death. They all gonna catch a case.
I promise you right now, Trump's got probably 90% of his advisors going, you shouldn't have said that, boss. You shouldn't have said that about the National Guard, boss. And he's probably thinking that might have been a fuck up. Because, man, I mean, legit, that could go. He could have played right into their hands. Like that could be bad. That could be really, really bad. And I honestly don't believe there's going to be an election.
Realistically, all this shit plays into the a third of the world's population gone by 27, right? I mean, this is kind of the influx of everything that's supposed to be happening. Like, look how long it took us to get into WW1 and WW2.
Yeah.
You know, it takes some years for America to do the actual build up. So all this shit could just be destiny building up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but just imagine if it goes down the way I said that it was going, when they come into the country, they spread out, and they just when all of a sudden a signal goes out and they just start tearing shit up. The country falls into chaos. You got blue helmets on the street. Our military's outnumbered. They suspend posse comitatus, bring all the military back. Actually, I think they don't have to suspend posse comitatus to bring the Navy. The Navy can legit operate on U.S. soil, I do believe. I think the Navy can actually operate legitimately on U.S. soil without posse comitatus. But if they suspend posse comitatus, bring the military in, they're still outnumbered. The military is outnumbered 3-1. So it's like, if they can legitimately destabilize the American population to where there's shit kicking off in every state, in every major city, that's a call for help. Then you get the United Nations coming in. Then you get all this. I'm telling you, that's the only way to get the one world government in. The U.S. has to not necessarily collapse, but be rendered chaotic enough for outside troops on the ground. Once that happens, it's fucking over.
But
they're also setting up each side for the 14th. I have seen either side say, okay, well, Trump, it was J6, he 14th him, he can't run. I see that on the other side also. Biden is giving comfort to the enemy, you know, same amendment, same use. And I almost feel like they know how thin the line is that we're on, and they are willing to turncoat for whatever will fit the agenda at the time. This is a continuous test that's going to amp up big time by November for sure. But they're still testing which way to throw the arrow, I think.
True.
I
I got a couple of things about this. The whole thing with Abbott, there's no doubt in my mind his motivations for this is political. Why he's doing what he's doing. But outside of it, it doesn't even matter why he's doing what he's doing, because he sparked something. Because there's people all across this freaking nation for years. We've been putting up with all this bull crap. We've been getting loss after loss after loss. We've been seeing what's been coming in the pipeline. Every time we thought we were about to get a win and all this shit was about to get exposed, it didn't. And now we see there's like an opening for what's going on in Texas, and patriotic Americans are flocking there. Like with the convoy, 700,000. It's already 20 miles long. This is beyond J6. This is not. That was a few hundred people going into the Capitol building, and that was a place. That was a trap that they had ready to go. Nancy Pelosi and all those vipers. This is different. Yeah, this is very different than January 6th. Will the federal government try to get people? Of course they will, with the militias coming in and all this stuff. But something has been sparked, and that's always been the problem with these politicians. They don't know what the population is going to do. We have the third largest population in the world. Imagine 300 million people, or just 100 million people rising up, all united. We don't care what color our skin is. We don't care what sexual preference is. We don't care if you vote Democrat or Republican. We're tired of this bullshit, and we're coming against you. That's what happened in 2012 when they did the Occupy Wall Street stuff. All kinds of Americans were coming together to call out the bullshit, to say, we had 8 years of Bush, we've had 6 years of Obama, and it's all the same. We're done with it. And then that's when they started all the intersectional bullshit with the woke movement. They saw American people coming together and standing up, and they got scared, and they said, we need to do something about this shit. How are we going to divide these people? And they did it. And we've been going through this since 2013. And here we are, 2024. They're trying to set shit up. The United Nations, our own government, Republicans and Democrats, they're trying to crash the nation so they can set up their oligarchy, take complete control. Abbott may or may not be a part of it. I think there's infighting among these politicians. It's all a power. It's a Game of Thrones to them. But once they spark something, they're playing a dangerous game, is what they're doing. Because this Texas thing can blow up into something and start a movement across the entire nation that they're not going to be able to stop.
Yep.
It could. It's going to go one of two ways, Native. I agree with you. That would be obviously the preferred way. The other way, and I'm saying this mainly because of the way the mainstream media spins the narrative and the way the Democratic Party spins the narrative. If they can sit back and let all these states declare for Texas, and all these governors declare for Texas, and all these people declare for Texas, and all these people are associated with Donald J. Trump and the MAGA movement, then they could legitimately classify the MAGA community as a domestic terrorist organization shortly after he strokes that pen on the insurrection and martial law. I mean, they can legitimately. You want to talk about separating a nation? You want to talk about civil fucking war? Oh my God! Because then you've got the MAGA nation, the true Americans that want to live free as Americans, and then you've got the other side that will have support from nations around the world. You know, they'll chime in just like they did with the first Civil War, with France, you know, supporting the South, and you know, it's going to be the largest chess game in history with all these other nations and these other countries. They will legitimately be able to influence the outcome of the fall of America and what comes afterwards. It's insane. And we're
If
doing
they
it to
can get
ourselves.
us fighting each other in the street, they can send in those helmets. And I think that's exactly the point.
And we're doing it to ourselves. We're legitimately we watched what happened on November the 3rd. That was the insurrection. We watched it live on television. We watched it happen live on TV, and the public accepted it because the View, 5 fat, out of shape, worthless fucking whores, the View said it was all bullshit. Whoopi, go fucking drown yourself. I mean, I don't even understand how they're still alive. That is the most ridiculous television show in history, and but people watch it religiously and they believe that shit that comes out of their mouth. They're too lazy to do research on their own.
Well, that just shows why this country needs to have something extremely messy and violent to wake everybody up. Because at this point, we're roughly 50-50 in this country. Like, honestly, between conservatives and liberals, not Democrat, Republican, but conservatives and liberals. You know, that freeloader mindset. It's got 2 generations now, at least. You know what I mean? Look at your kids and your grandkids, all iPhone babies. You know what I mean? Every one of them needs to have some kind of screen. You know what I mean? It's no matter what happens, even if Trump gets in, everything gets peaceful. Ain't nothing going to change because there's a bigger agenda going on. You know what I mean? All he can do is put some fucking nail polish on it and be like, hey, look, you can buy shiny shit cheaper now. But that's not going to change what's going on globally. You know what I mean?
know if it all goes to shit, I might just go down to the Darien Gap and set up a village somewhere where I know I'll be left alone. They ain't coming to get you down there. They are not fucking coming to get you down there.
I say this, man. This is just January. This is the election year. We knew it was going to get crazy, but man, we got 10 more months. And you don't think this is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse?
Mm-hmm.
We ain't seen shit yet. I mean, I guess we can't say what we're hoping for, because Lord knows I'm let it rain. You know what I'm saying? Let it rain. Bring the heat. Come on, man. Light it up. I'm tired of this shit. Bring the heat. But even if this doesn't amount to something and people get disappointed and they're like, man, this didn't amount to nothing, don't worry. We got 10 more months to go. There's going to be so much shit going on by the time this election comes, if there is still an election.
Yeah, if there is.
Wait for the October surprises, man. I can't wait to see what each side has on each other.
Right.
Yeah.
It seems like a perfect time to
all
pull
the
this
shit
out.
we already know about Biden. What could they possibly be hiding?
Right.
It seems like a perfect time for this map. This map tickles the shit out of me.
See, I'm iffy on Wyoming, honestly, and I'm kind of iffy on Montana too.
Like the funny thing is, like the one from Civil War at the top, you know, that is the most ridiculous thing. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense.
California can't even sustain itself with water, so there ain't no way in hell that it's going to separate and be its own thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If Nevada stops sending water to California, them sons of bitches are dead.
Oh, they're done.
You have to pay people to clean poop off the sidewalk every day in California.
Right. I mean, so the Western forces up here, they rely on everybody else to feed them because they ain't growing that whole lot of shit up there. I mean, a little
Not true. Not true at all. But carry on.
No, you can grow your own, but I'm saying you're not in the grain belt. You know, this is
All right.
you know, it's like
what you got, Roots? What you got?
I got plenty of farms. We're full. Don't come over here. He's right. Can't grow shit. Can't do shit. It sucks.
But it's like when you look at this map of all the states that have voiced support for Texas, this is kind of shocking. Some of the states, not all of them, but some of the states. But you know, it's like North Carolina. The only reason North Carolina isn't red is because we got a blue governor. That's it. Because North Carolina is not a fucking blue state. I don't give a shit what anybody says. You can't find a Biden sign anywhere unless you go to fucking Raleigh or Charlotte. But yeah, Kentucky, no fucking way. I don't even agree with Illinois.
And didn't Arizona? This must be an old map because hasn't Arizona already pledged support to Texas too? I thought Arizona did.
I don't know. But yeah,
I don't even know.
dude, I don't know, man. It's
I'm
funny
accountable.
to look at the map, but it's like, what the
Kansas
fuck?
always plays it safe. They've got old school religion type, syntax type mentality.
Kansas is a completely different. Kansas is its own animal, but it's like, I don't know, that the contrast of those two maps to me, that struck me as funny.
See, I was telling Native this earlier. I don't think it's going to be an even split. If this country does divide, whether it's a secession or a war, there's going to be at least 3 different sides, and then probably up to maybe possibly 11 to 15. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be anarchists, there's going to be revolutionaries, there's going to be communists, there's going to be socialists, there's going to be conservatives, there's going to be fucking bootlicking old school, like, oh, we need the police back and all the politicians because they keep us.
It's not going to be like the original Civil War, where it was separated by the Mason-Dixon line, North and South. This will be something. It'll be like it'll be fought in the states. It'll be fought battle by battle. It'll be alliances of states. Like certain states will agree with each other if they border each other. It's like on that map. There's no fucking way in hell North Carolina's not red because it's surrounded by red. It's going to have to be red by period. It's just going to be, it is period.
South Carolina is just going to absorb it. It's going to be Carolina.
I'm cool with that. We go back to just one Carolina.
I'm thinking the biggest conflicts are going to be in the cities, in the urban areas.
That's where all shit's going to kick off, is in the city. Yeah. If you're not in the concrete jungles, you're gonna. If you're not in the concrete jungle and you know how to grow food and you've prepped up a little bit and you keep your head down, you can basically sit back and eat popcorn and watch.
I'm just saying, if anybody out there is smart and is looking for some kind of immediate result in the grand scheme of things, don't rush to Texas. Get all these trucks to block every single road going into DC. Don't let no food come in. Let them grocery stores go empty. Let them gas stations go empty. Make that whole fucking town a giant ass ghetto with nothing coming in and nothing going out.
Shit.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'm prepped up, so it don't matter. I can handle it.
Right.
I'm just saying, if
Dutch trying to send everybody my way.
And I haven't heard anybody
people
say
really want to make a difference. You know what I mean?
I'm with you. I agree.
I haven't heard anybody say
agree.
this. I haven't heard anybody say this before, but it's coming down to the wire now, guys, and it's going to be like us versus the world, because the blue party, they're supported by the one world government. They're supported by the whole new world order machine, which is the entire rest of the fucking planet, versus people that want to be free. Now, don't get me wrong. There's people that want to be free that are all over the world. The problem is they live in a place where they aren't free. If we could only open up a migration pipeline of people that want to come here and shoot guns and be free and be left fucking alone and piss off their porch and run around their house naked all they want, we got a fighting chance. But it's legitimately us against the fucking world.
We can't do that already?
Yeah, right. Anything blue does, they're supported by like international everything. We get nothing. We got to. If you were driving by DC and you were fucked up and got your face on camera at a red light, they're coming to arrest you and send you to Guantanamo Bay for being an insurrectionist just because you went to the nation's capital. And the nation's capital, it's called the People's House, which by definition to me means it should never be off limits. You could never be held for trespassing. It's the People's House. I don't even think there's locks on those fucking doors. There probably is now.
I see a lot of people in the chat trying to make fun of the blue hairs and the limp wrist pulling up with their guns. Hey, a limp wrist can still have a very strong trigger finger.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yep.
Don't
I agree. We shouldn't
look
isolate.
like a clown.
I still think when it all kicks off, it's going to come down to the sheriffs. I think there's going to come a day, just like in the Wild West.
Yeah, I agree.
No matter where you went, that sheriff was he was the cat that made or break you. I think it's going to come down to your sheriff. I mean, if you're sheriff, because
the sheriff is the highest elected official.
Yes, sir. You cannot fuck with the sheriff. The sheriff can throw every Fed out of his county without excuse, without a reason. Get your shit and fucking go. He answers to nobody. He answers to the Constitution.
Yeah, you better get to know who your sheriff is, because mine's a bitch.
Yeah, the sheriff has got mad juice, mad juice. And I honestly, I think it's going to come to. I can see 20, maybe 30 years from now, the United States of America balkanized. I can see groups of states forming alliances.
I think that's where we're headed too. I really
You know,
do.
Straight
can legit
USSR
see
type
it.
stuff.
I think that's the best case scenario we can hope for at this point.
It is. It is the best case scenario, and I think it's a better outcome than what we're dealing with right now. It would be a rebirth of a nation.
It really would, because even if we get balkanized into different, nation states, we could still be allied together to fight foreign entities.
I mean, look
Everyone
how long.
says if the United States falls, well, here comes China and Russia. China and Russia ain't coming over here and mess with our 400 million privately owned firearms. They're really not.
Tim Poole made a really good point, and it stuck with me. It's been a few weeks back when he said it, and it was back, I think, before World War II or World War I, maybe. It was when people spoke about the United States, it was the United States are coming. The United States are going to do this. After the whole bullshit democracy, now it's the United States is. So it's the United States is one thing now. But before the United States are, it was a group of 50 states that agreed on something, or 48 at the time. It used to be referred to as the United States are. Now it's the United States is.
But you know what you got to keep in mind, man? You got to keep in mind that there's going to be so many people that are sellouts, rats. Prisons are full of them, man. I mean, fear will make a motherfucker crumble and fold. Money will make them. I mean, I know people that would sell their mama. People would. I mean, it's unbelievable the shit that people will do when they're scared or when they think they can keep money. You look at China. China could buy out probably 5 or 6 of our statesmen right now. They probably already bought out half of our politicians. Who knows? But I'm just saying, like we think we're gonna have this unity shit. I don't think. I think America is doomed, man. There's too many different. When you got 50 states and you got 5 or 6 main people in each one of those states who think they're God and think they're king, and there's so many sellouts, so many. We're doomed, man. We're doomed. You know what I'm saying?
Money is going to buy the leaders, but fear and ignorance is going to buy the people, and that's a much bigger problem.
Yeah, I mean, how seriously right now, how many people have the balls? I just don't see it, man. If the feds go into Texas, is Texas really going to be able to stand up to them? I mean, if the feds come into your state, I mean, some of us will give our lives. Some of us will say right now we'll give our lives, but when it comes down to it, and your wife is sitting next to you and your 2-year-old daughter sitting next to you, and you know that you can keep them alive and you alive, the only thing you got to do is just be quiet and not say nothing. That's what most people are going to do. We're not built like that anymore. Back in the days, we didn't have air conditioning and cable TV and internets and get all the booty you want. Like, it was rough back in the day. So people were born and built rough. In America, people are not built and born rough. Even in the hoods, I've been there my whole life. When the cops roll up, you get the scatting, you get the running. Half of the people in the hood are snitching, the other half are hiding. Like, there's very few thorough motherfuckers. And that's what we got to deal with in this country, man. We're not built like that anymore, man.
50% of the states in this country have already vowed to back them up. So do I think they could win? Yes, I do. And I think a lot hinges on whatever precedent is set on that border right now.
Well, Texas is Texas is probably the only state that could legitimately stand alone by itself.
Mm-hmm.
It has its own power grid. It's got its own ports. It's got its own oil. Texas could be its own nation again. But the problem is, like when Tribe said, if the federal government rolls in, then it comes down to the governor if he has balls. If he has balls and he calls up the state guard and he deputizes a whole bunch of people, then there's a pretty good chance But then it also comes down to what the governor does. Now, the governor might bitch out and want to roll over, but you know what? Maybe the sheriffs don't. You know, it just depends on how far into shit influences your decisions. It's just like I always revert back to that Mel Gibson movie, The Patriot. You know, he was firmly against the revolution. He was firmly against going up because he had a family. You know, this is a guy that was blood and guts in the old days, but he had a family, and he told him flat out, you know, the war's not going to be fought somewhere else. It's going to be fought in your front yards, in front of your family. You know, and his whole mindset didn't change until they were fighting legitimately in his front yard. The wounded were on his porch, and one of his sons got murdered. Then he went straight fucking animal, and that was one of the best. That was one of the best character transitions in a movie I've ever seen in my fucking life. That was Oscar-worthy shit right there. It was awesome.
But see, that just shows you too, though. If you wait till it gets to your front door, it's too fucking late. You know what I mean? You're gonna lose something. So you either act now to protect something, or you wait until you lose something and then try to get vengeance. You know what I mean? Like
look at America, right? You know, 80% of America, they're used to, they were born into, we're the most powerful country in the world. We rule this, we rule that. I grew up on the internet. I grew up on, you know, delivery pizza, the whole 9 yards. Very few Americans actually served in the military. Well, you know, the last 20 years, we had quite a few, Afghanistan and Iraq. And then they're heroes when they're deployed. Dude, when the war was going on, and especially when I was stateside and I was in uniform, when I was doing recruiting duty for a while, I didn't pay for a fucking meal for months. Everywhere I went, I mean, it got to the part where it was embarrassing and annoying because everybody was a patriot. But that fades really, really fucking quick. And now nobody gives a shit about the vets unless it's, you know, unless it's Memorial Day or Veterans Day or, you know, stuff like that. Then everybody does the whole thank you for your service thing. You know, why does it just matter today? Why doesn't it matter all the time? Why don't you respect your military? Why don't you respect your vet? You got veterans sleeping on the street. We're kicking kids out of school to put illegal immigrants, which are probably terrorists, in their fucking gymnasium.
America will never have another come together 9/11 moment. It's never going to happen.
Oh yeah.
So, like if 9/11 happened tomorrow, half the country would be out there having parades and shit, waving flags and banners, talking about, yeah, that's what you get. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So,
plus, we would only see
our generation that's been raised up on that.
right.
And they blame
two things about Texas. I've been reading up on some stuff because I want to know how hard would the federal government go against one state. I think it depends on what assets the federal government has in that state. Texas, there's only two mints in the country. One of them's in Texas. And the only facility in our country that makes nuclear weapons is in Texas. The largest army base, the whole armor center, is at Fort Hood, Texas. There's another army base down by El Paso. You got the naval bases down in the Gulf. I mean, there's a lot of assets that the feds would just have to give up and give to Texas.
They would go hard to keep Texas.
Yeah.
They would go hard to keep Texas. There's no way the federal government would voluntarily let Texas leave the union. And everybody says Texas can succeed. You know, they have that clause in their thing because Texas is the only part of America that was an individual nation before it joined America. You know, save Hawaii. Hawaii was an island nation, a kingdom. Texas was a declared country that voluntarily joined the union. And in their when they joined, they have a clause that said they can vote secede, but it has to be approved by Congress. And Texas can also divide itself up into 5 separate states if they want. But everybody says, "Oh yeah, Texas can secede." They can vote to secede, but it's got to be approved by Congress. Congress is never going to let Texas secede.
That's the one thing that I am finding the most like fucking super annoying is everybody is a legal scholar now, and it's the Constitution says that they have to do this and that. When in the last 5 years has anybody given a fuck about what the Constitution says they can and cannot do?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But the thing is, if you're going to secede, it means I don't like you in the first fucking place. So why would I need your approval to do it?
Right? Yeah, that makes
But to
no
me,
sense.
that whole clause is bullshit. If we were getting along, I wouldn't be fucking leaving. You know what I mean? So it's
My,
like,
my biggest question, man. My biggest question, and I ask it all the time, man. What are Americans supposed? We've gone far enough. They've done stepped over that line 100,000 times over again. We when you draw that line in the sand, we done drew that line 300, 400 years ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 days ago. We keep drawing, and then we draw another line and another. What is it that American citizens should be doing right now to say, look, we're done with this shit, man. The last line has been drawn and y'all crossed it. What, like, in all honesty, man, I try to think to myself, how, what, when, what should be America's be done? And I don't expect nobody to answer because I can't come up with an answer for it in the slightest. But it bothers the shit out of me. Like, it's like, shouldn't we be doing something by now?
Oh, that's why I called it. Shit. Start getting them semis in your old ass junk cars. If you got trash and furniture you don't want, start clogging highways. Start closing these fucking cities down. Start making it real everywhere in this country like these loud motherfuckers did for the last 3 years. When do we start getting loud? You know what I mean? It's at a certain point. If you don't want to kill somebody, then start getting real fucking loud so you don't have to have that blood on your hands. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere. You can't just sit back like I'm ready for the revolution, but you're literally waiting for somebody else to kick it off. Get off your fucking asses and start making your voices heard. Start letting them see you. Cause disruption. Organize disobedience, people.
Yeah, every legitimate revolution in history, it doesn't take hold until there's bodily fluid on the ground. You know, it doesn't hit home. People don't unite until they share a common loss. You know what I mean? Go back to the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, anything. I mean, it didn't hit home until there was blood on the ground. You know, so as long as we can experience it through social media and mainstream media, and you get to just sit home and watch it like it's a fucking movie, you're unattached, you're distanced from it, so it doesn't hurt. You can talk and say, you know, whatever you want. You can voice your opinions, you know, without any repercussions so far. But, you know, until it like hurts for everybody's not going to agree on fucking anything. And that's the fucked up part about it. And that's been proven throughout history. You know, it's not, I mean, you know, if you stub your toe, I don't cry. It didn't hurt me a fucking bit. I'm probably going to laugh because you stubbed your toe. But until like everybody feels the hurt and the pain, they don't have a common goal. You know what I mean? We may have a common goal in our minds, what we'd like to see, how we'd like to live our lives. But in order to stand up to the machine that's holding you down, there has to be a common goal. There has to be a shared loss. And we don't have that, which is good because I'd hate to see people die for no reason, but it's bad because we can't fucking agree on any goddamn thing.
Well, see, that's why you got to look at it as the more disruption you cause now, infrastructure wise, to businesses, to news buildings, to these kind of places. If you can make people hurt that way just by disruption, then hopefully you'll never have to get to a point to where you have to have the bloodshed. You know what I mean? Right. Hopefully you can wake enough people up in that suffering.
Yeah.
That you don't have so many people to fight if it does come to bloodshed. You know what I mean? You've got to give people that chance to wake up before it's okay, you're automatically enemy, I'm taking your life. You know what I mean? Because
I honestly think this election is our last chance. If it goes the wrong direction, it's a one-party system from here on out. Via revolution, that's the only way it'll change. Because there's too many. They've already proven to us they can just manufacture votes. So if there isn't a huge swing and a huge change, and the messed up part is if Trump got in office tomorrow, I don't think he can fix all the fucked up shit in 4 years. Now, granted, he's going to get 4 years because he ain't worried about being reelected. So he's going to go balls out for 4 years. There's no chance in hell he's going to get reelected. So he's got 4 years to just tear shit up. But I don't even think he can fix the shit in 4 years. because half the administration, I mean, you know, his cabinet, he gets to choose, but some of the elected officials and that you can't just fucking fire them. You know what I mean? That's the fucked up part. Unless you're part, like you, when you're on the cabinet, you serve at his will. He can fire you at any time. But if you're an elected official, you can't just fucking fire you. He can make your life miserable. But the problem is, what do you have over him? What are you in charge of that you can deny him services? I mean, the entire time he was in office, most of the military wasn't even giving him the facts. I mean, he was saying, get the fuck out of Afghanistan. And they were like, yeah, or out of Syria. And he's like, yeah, we've been out for a while now. It's like 4,000 troops in Syria. You know, so they weren't even telling him the truth. They were legitimately committing treason. They were lying to the commander in chief about military stuff, and that's his deal. That's his one job. He's the commander in chief, and they were lying to him. You know, so I know it sounds fucking stupid, and the Democrats are the first ones that brought it up. He's going to be like a fucking dictator when he gets in office. Here's the deal. In order to fix what's fucked up, he legit needs to be for about a good 6 fucking months. He needs to shut down mainstream media. He needs to take control of all of that shit, fucking retool it, put decent fucking human beings in there that aren't connected to the system, that aren't connected to the Soroses, that aren't, I mean, they own fucking everything. They own this platform that we're talking on right now. You know what I mean? The only reason we're even getting to communicate is because they allow it.
They got people working. They got people working in the government right now, looking for channels like this, talking about these things. Keep an eye on them, folks. It's crazy, man. It's wild. This shit we're going through, man.
Bringing back jobs ain't gonna change shit. Most people don't want to fucking work.
Yeah,
they got more money to not work.
That's true.
You've got a whole culture of people out there who are literally buying shitty ass used cars, and boom, that's their future. They're doing DoorDash, they're doing fucking Uber out of their little apartment car. You know what I mean? It's people. It's nobody wants a fucking job. People are about themselves nowadays. You know what I mean? But I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying that's what's going on.
The way it is.
You know what I
mean? I mean, we spent 2 years training everybody to stay home and order, you know?
There's still a huge part of our population, too, that they're just never going to change. They're never going to see it. And there's another large part, they're not going to see it until there's no more going to McDonald's. There's no more going to Pizza Hut. There's no more going to Walmart. And then they're going to say, hey, what's going on? Why is shit so fucked up? And then they're going to seek out people like us and people like you folks in the chat who've been seeing this shit for years and saying it. And they're going to know what's been going on, what's happening. There's a large part of our population that's got their heads way up their derrieres. They're just not paying attention, and they don't care. As long as things going smooth for them and they can still go and do the things that they want to do, they don't care what happens until that part of the population, till that part of the population wakes up. There's not going to be like that tipping point that we need. That's why it's gotten so far.
There was a very good
scene. We need numbers. I don't mean to interrupt, but I just going along with what Native's saying. That's our problem. That's our weakness, man. We don't have the numbers. Believe me, if we had 100 million people who seen shit for exactly what is going on, you would have everybody at every state building, and they wouldn't be able to do their business until they fix shit because we wouldn't let them. You know what I mean? We would have the numbers, but we don't have the numbers.
The problem is, Tribe, I think we do have the numbers. We just can't communicate with each other because they keep us shut down. Like through this medium right here. It's like, I think there's probably 100 million people in the United States of America, at least, that are completely against all this bullshit. The problem is we can only communicate to they've legitimately reduced us into these pockets of communities that they deal with one at a time. If you don't let this group of 10 and this group of 10 get to this one and multiply, then they can't get organized and can't get a common goal. You know what I mean? It's like
but even out
of communicate.
But even out of that, let's say 100 million. Let's say there's 100 million and we all feel the same. Out of that 100 million, how many do you think are willing to sacrifice? Because that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. Serious sacrifice to change things.
And that goes back to what I said before. Until there's bodily fluids on the ground, it doesn't legitimately hit home. It's like you were talking about in the hood. You know, when the police roll up, everybody scatters. You know, and until you're in the corner with nowhere else to go, and your options are limited, and until you feel the sting in your family at home of the oppression, it isn't really real. You know, you can just hit the off button or change the channel on YouTube or switch to another outlet. You know, but it's like it's real, but it's not real because people are so detached. I mean, this whole matrix of things is everything's fucked up now. It's
Over
like
the
you're
last
seeing
couple
everything
weeks, I've
third
come
person.
across a few channels that are they're patriot channels. Yeah, America, fuck yeah. But they are anti-black pill crowd. They are against the black pillars more than they're against the Biden administration kind of shit. But they're patriots. You know what I mean? Like they talk about the same shit we do, all this other shit, but they believe in a peaceful resolution and just letting the legal system just work its way out. If it takes 2 or 3 generations, then it's good enough for our grandkids. It'll be fixed by then. You know what I mean? So like there are so many people out there who call themselves patriots and say they're on our sides, but yet they openly admit that they will never do anything violent because they believe that the legal system is there to actually protect them. You know what I mean?
They're fucking
Patriots
idiots.
believe this shit. You know what I mean? So
The legal system isn't there to protect Americans. It's there to protect the legal system. It's there to protect the system of government, the system of ruling. It's not here to protect us. I mean, there was a court ruling that the police are not obligated to protect you, even though their motto is protect and serve. They are not obligated to try to save your life. They're not obligated to protect you. They're there to enforce the law. And that usually means after a crime was committed, but they're not obligated.
Yeah, there's literally nothing a cop can do until a crime happens. Otherwise, he's a thought police. So
Exactly.
what the fuck are they actually protecting? They're investigators. That's all the fuck they are.
They're there to write shit down and tell a story after it's over with.
Yeah. This is how I think it happened. You know, that's literally all they do, and then collect taxes.
Yeah.
And let's be honest. I want to add a little something to what Hutch was saying, and I'm not just saying it's just about patriots, but if everybody in the chat, everybody on this panel, if you think about it in your life, how many people were you so-called friends with, or people that you knew, and how many of them could talk a tough game? Oh man, that motherfucker ain't gonna do shit to me. You know, I wish the police would show up at my house. Oh man, shit, I don't give a shit. And then as soon as something pops off,
crying in the back of the car.
And how what kind of percentage? I know I've been around 48 years, and I've seen a lot of motherfuckers fold, man. I've seen a lot of motherfuckers talk tough, but when the shit come down, they ain't got a near bit of fucking heart in them. And there's a lot more of them than thorough people, man. And that's what scares me about this country, because it's almost like ingrained in our society these days, man. The easy get out. Oh, it's easy, you know, that people don't like it rough no more, man. They can talk a good game.
There is a culture of snitching that seems to be the acceptable thing, and it baffles my fucking mind. Like my nephew, he's like 10 or 15 years younger than us, and they're, you know, our day was, if you got caught snitching, you're waking up in a ditch somewhere. You know what I mean? Just boom, at best case scenario. Nowadays, these motherfuckers are telling on each other, and then as soon as they get out of jail, they're going right back to the dude's house to hang out and smoke with him like nothing ever happened. And it's like a circle that keeps going back and forth. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? This, I mean, don't be a tattletale. What happened to that shit when you were a toddler getting smacked? Who are you tattletaling on? You better take care. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Man, my mama would beat my ass if I ever tattletale. What the fuck? They ain't raised right, Hutch. We know they ain't raised right. And a lot of it comes from people being I don't know what the word is, but when you grow up easy and you don't have to, when you don't go hungry ever in your life, or if you've never been hungry, or you never been in a fist fight, or you never been in an argument or stood up, I mean, that's what it comes down to. You know, a thorough motherfucker has to be born and bred and go through some shit to end up being thorough. You know, maybe there's a couple natural born thorough motherfuckers, but usually you got to go through some shit and you just end up, hey, this is the man I am and I'm sticking by it no matter what. But man, it's hard to come by. It's hard to find motherfuckers like that, man, these days.
It's easy to be somebody
I'll
else
tell
when
you
you
what,
live
man.
on the screen. You know what I mean? That living on a
Yeah.
screen for most of these motherfuckers, that Instagram mentality, that
TikTok.
you literally live multiple personalities. You don't know who you are your
Yeah.
goddamn self. You know what I mean?
True.
It's
I'll tell you what,
the whole
the hardest,
unplug.
scariest people I've ever seen. I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Nah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the scariest, hardest people I've ever seen never said a word. They didn't boast. They didn't go around and say, "I'm a bad motherfucker." Oh, man, they never said a word, man. But when it came down, they did some scary, no holds barred shit, man.
Yeah,
Every time.
it's them silent ones.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
That's why Nisi call you psycho all the time, Native. You're all nice and all quiet and shit, but we know you got a list, bruh. We know you got a list.
That's why I talk so much shit. I ain't throw rice at a wedding. Shit.
right.
I did quit. I did quit school because of recess.
Right, because you don't play. Right.
Shit.
It's funny. I've got some of those kids in school, man. They're trained now. When they walk in my classroom, they know to just put the computer on the table to the side because they know that I ain't letting them get on their laptop. They know Mr. Martin don't play that shit. I don't do computers and I don't do calculators. And it just it freaks them out.
And you take the calculators too. You one of them teachers, man.
Oh yeah, no. I teach them how to do math. When I taught math, they're like, "Well, I'm like, no. I'm teaching you how to do math, which means you've got to do the math. I'm not teaching you how to use a calculator."
How are they going to learn to spell boobs upside down on their calculators? Come on, man.
Dude, I actually showed that to one kid that blew his mind. Yeah, I don't the whole technology thing, man. It's good for kids to unplug. It's good for people to unplug. I mean, I showed them how to actually do math, how to do long division. Blew their mind. They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, you don't need this little box. You can do it."
That's nobody's going to grasp what real reality is until they can get broke away from that screen. You know what I mean? Like if you could wave some kind of magic wand, it'd be like boom, no electronics as far as computers, cell phones, anything. The iPads, anything with a screen, nothing works for 2 months straight. I think there would be a significant shift in this country of people actually being aware of what's around them. You know what I mean?
I bet you money if an EMP went off tomorrow above Kansas and the entire United States went dark, the suicide rate would probably be somewhere between 30 and 45% within 72 hours, mainly because of mainstream of not being able to get validated on your phone that your life matters. Like these 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old girls especially, they can't function without that. That's legitimately part of their life. They don't even need friends anymore. They just need that little black screen in front of them. It's the fucking craziest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, who needs brain chips when you got these cell phones?
It's man, it's crazy. That's all they talk about. TikTok, Instagram, all this other bullshit that I don't do. I mean,
it's a lot of young people, like when the shit goes up and all this goes away, there's gonna be a lot of young people that's gonna have a hard time dealing with it. A lot of them's gonna self-delete.
Yeah. I mean, the only positive outcome of that is they're going to be fucking mad as hell. So there's a whole lot of rage that you can focus into a different direction because they're going to be pissed that their shit don't work no more. You know,
I mean, and you can't really be mad at them about it because honestly, I was born in 81. A lot of y'all, well, I would say probably 99.9% of y'all in here remember the 90s and before. So we know a world before a screen. We have a completely different perspective than literally a quarter of the country right now. You know what I mean?
I grew up before.
You see 80-year-old women who are now addicted to their phone. Like, bitch, you lived a whole generation without a screen, and now you can't live without it. You know what I mean? So imagine a toddler being handed a fucking iPad while they're still in diapers. You know what I mean? It's
Well, they're addicted to the dopamine, and the dopamine rush you used to get from work or sports or, you know, exerting yourself in some way, feel good things. And the only thing people have left is that brain addiction, that rush, and that dopamine drop when the internet goes out. People who, like, I think Gen X is a superior generation, and we know what it's like to program a VCR or read a clock, for fuck's sake, you know? So when that dopamine drops out, people are going to be frantic. They don't even know how to play Rummy or Monopoly or Sorry or whatever. Never have sat down with their family and played a board game or whatever, you know, chess. Break out a chessboard. Get your dopamine somewhere else. Start training your hormones and your brain surges.
right. Take your tweens out to the woods. Do some peyote. Do some bonding. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do some real shit.
Kind of threw that one in there, huh?
Right? Have that spirit quest. Wake your ass up.
Do some peyote. Do some shooting.
Right. That's a good example, though.
I remember when I was on the phone with my daughter, and she was so upset because my granddaughter had thrown her iPad into the toilet. My 2-year-old granddaughter had threw her iPad in the toilet. She's pissed off. I said, "She threw your iPad in the toilet?" You know, I'm being concerned parent. Oh my God, she threw your $1,000 iPad in the toilet. She goes, "No, she threw her iPad in the toilet." I started laughing. She goes, "What's so fucking funny?" I said, "Who in the fuck would buy a 2-year-old a $1,000 iPad?"
Mm-hmm.
You deserve it.
That's crazy.
You know, now Apple makes these cases. They're specifically for toddlers and children, to where their iPad is legitimately as close to being indestructible as it possibly can be. It's fucking waterproof, impact proof, the whole 9 yards. You know, for 18-month-old kids to get pre-programmed looking at this black screen, it's insane. Blows my mind.
Yeah.
Can I ask something, man? This is something I'm curious about. To see what y'all got to think on this, man. Do y'all think that there can be a movement started in America, like a serious movement? And the reason I ask is because it seems to me like we're to such a point where everybody's got to one up the next person, and oh man, this dude's really pushing a movement, but man, fuck that dude, man. I could push a better movement than that. Do you think that we could actually have a movement started where everybody backs it?
No.
I think
it would take a catalyst, a big catalyst, where it was down to survival, whether an EMP or like 9/11 was child's play. I'm talking something major. I think people would come together. I do believe that. I think people would try, if we're all in the same level of what the hell is going on, that same emotion of 9/11. No one stopped and asked, are you gay? Are you red? Are you blue? What do you believe? When people needed help in those buildings, they just went and helped. So I think it would take a lot of fire.
Let me ask you this, Roots. Let me ask you this. And this ain't just towards you. It's just something that pops in my head when you say that. Don't you think that 22 million illegal people flooding into our country is a catalyst?
Oh, sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. But it's an insidious catalyst. It's the frog in the pot, because they're trickling them, busing them. It's not on the mainstream media. If you live in those border towns, you definitely know. But it's way more than the border thing. I've said for a while, one way they get them in is the education system. A lot of colleges get extra money to bring in Chinese, so we're literally bringing in and educating the people who could improvise very serious things right in front of us.
But if you look, though, who the vast majority of the militias and the people who actually would stand up and actually do the damn thing live in flyover country. And people in flyover country aren't really being affected by actually seeing it every day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's to us out here in the sticks, it's like, oh, that's a city problem. You know what I mean? Fuck them. You know what I mean? So it's one of those kind of, I'll wait till the tank pulls up and knocks on my door kind of mentality. You know what I mean? Like I'm a firm believer that true patriotism is a have gun will travel kind of mentality, because you're there to protect the whole thing, not just your own fucking personal property. You know what I mean? You can't call yourself a patriot if the only thing you care about is your fucking yard. That's just a selfish fucking son of a bitch. If you're a patriot, you want to defend America. You know what I mean? So if you have to go to defend America, then you make the effort to go defend America. But I think most people have that, I'm going to wait till I actually see it affect my neighbors, and then I'll decide to make a move kind of, you know what I mean? I think that's where we're at.
You know,
I want to see what happens with this border, man. With the patriots and shit standing up, and I really hope they do the damn thing. And I know people can say, well, why ain't you doing it? Well, I ain't ever claimed to be that dude. I'm just saying that the people that claim to be that dude and want to do something about it, and they say they're going to do something about it, I hope I'm with them, and I hope they, I wish the best on them, and I hope that they do whatever it is that they're going to do. I'm tired. It was hard in 2020, man, when you seen all this shit going down in the streets, and then you seen patriots go down there, and it's like they got manhandled in the streets by these blue-haired people and shit. And I hate to say it, but it's true, man. It was right there in front of our eyes on the TVs. They were getting ran out of places and shit, running down the streets, being chased by these, 19-year-old punks and shit, because there was just so many of them and shit. And it was heartbreaking, man.
I don't know how to unblock Rabbit. I didn't block him. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. That's moderators' jobs. I don't understand how that shit works.
You would have to go to your Google settings in your account. Someone else might know the steps.
Who blocked Rabbit?
Nobody.
Nobody. I think it was Google.
It was Google.
Rabbit, we love you, dude.
We love you, Rabbit.
Man, fuck Rabbit.
All right, y'all keep talking. I'm gonna open up a different tab and see if I can figure out what the hell's going on.
You know what, man, about the movement thing? I think about that all the time, Tribe. Like, what's it gonna take to wake people up, man? Like, and sometimes I think it's because there's no real heroes. Like the world is a nasty, just grimy place all the time, and it's covered over with this veneer, of corporatism and Hollywood and everyone and Facebook and Instagram, TikTok and YouTube, and everybody looks to that to try to find that realness. We're all looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what anybody says. Everybody deep down is looking for something. We want to believe in something. Everybody does, man. I don't care what you say. Deep down, everybody wants to believe in something. And we just don't have that. There's no, I think that's why I said this before. Trump would be a great martyr.
Yeah.
He really would. That's why I think they've waited so long to try to take that dude out. Because they know he'll become an instant martyr for a movement.
Right. I agree with that.
See, I was just thinking about that, like 5 minutes ago. What are the possibilities? Because I can see it happening. If Trump did get JFK'd, what are the chances that the movement just dies with him? You know what I mean? Like, who would step up to take his place, to be like, oh, we need vengeance, other than a bunch of talking heads that nobody knows? You know what
I think his son. I think Junior would step up.
Have to be a real average person. Trump represented like the average person, even though he's not one. Like the everyday working man, like that, who was getting shit on by the government for decades. That's why he's so popular. I think if like a real like working Joe could rise up somehow and stand up to this machine, this global machine that is enslaving the whole world right before our eyes, and somehow be that true underdog story that we all love. all the movies and books and stuff that we love, they're all underdog stories. That's why we love them so much, because it speaks to us. And so if somehow like real average everyday people could just rise up all over the freaking country and stand up and say, we ain't taking this shit no more, you know, and do what you got to do, and the government be damned, the feds be damned, and I don't know, I just
we need a brave heart.
Unite behind, yeah, exactly. And
Right.
even if those first people who rise up are taken out, they're martyred, and then more rise up behind them. I mean, that's really probably what it's going to take, because of everything we all just said, man. People are gutless. People get on and talk a big game, but when it comes down, are they going to do it?
You know, the biggest thing that scares me about somebody who actually does that first action toward, you know, setting us on the right path, whatever that may be. I think that there's a possibility that might be a catalyst to unite both sides in vilifying the person who did the action in the first place. You know what I mean? That makes sense.
Yep.
Ain't it like we're living in a just real quick, ain't it like we're living in a fantasy land, man, and nobody sees the world? Do you ever feel like this, that it's like we're living in a fantasy land and nobody's really seeing what the world really is? They got this belief that everything is just fine and there's nothing bad, and you know, you're like living the good life and everything's gonna be okay, but really they just have these blinders on, and if they just took them off, man, they would see just how fucked up everything really is.
I don't know how
the more you dig into it, the more it looks like we're in a matrix, honestly. I can't disprove it.
Right, it's weird.
I don't know how to get Rabid Coyote back, Roots. What do I got to do?
You have to go into your YouTube studio and then go down to settings.
I did. He's not in there. He's not in the block.
Yeah, Lady Smith, no doubt.
Rabid, go back. Just completely go out and then come back in. See if that works, because YouTube might just not like you.
I did. I opened up a whole new window twice. There's only 6 people blocked from this channel, and he ain't one of them.
But if you think about it, me and Tribe shared this out on our community tabs, and I know me and Tribe are flagged, and I know Ghost is probably flagged, and Hutch is flagged. So Google's probably like, let me see what's going on over here. And so I guarantee you Google moderators are in here.
Oh, yeah. Ain't no doubt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, what? Going back to what Tribe said about, you know, a hero, and Native said a hero, you know, what would it take? Honestly, I think what it's going to take is publicity. I mean, to have a movement, you have to have momentum. And if the machine controls all the narrative and they control all the media outlets, no matter what you do, if whatever patriotic thing you do in bumfuck Egypt, if they just want to shut it down and make sure that narrative doesn't get out there, then nobody's going to hear about it. So you're not going to get momentum unless it's word of mouth. So it's going to be like strategically local, and it's going to have to grow, but it's legitimate.
But then who do you trust? Because if you get some square son of a bitch in your group, you're going to automatically assume he's some kind of fed because he's got the, you know what I mean, he wants to wear the black polo shirt and the fucking khaki pants just because that's his style. I mean, there's no trust even in local shit.
Let me ask you this though, right now, do we possibly have that thing that could spark a movement, and yet there's tons of people running around trying to downplay it or say, oh, y'all are just fear-mongering, or, oh, this is not, oh, Abbott's the bad guy, and fuck all that. Why don't we jump behind this right here? If everybody starts raising their voice, if everybody starts showing their ass right now, we got something that we can stand behind. No matter what the fuck you think it is, it could be powerful enough to make a move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It is. I agree. This Texas thing, this shit wouldn't have happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Fuck no. Half the country would have been on the border, camped out, waiting. But today it's just normal. Oh yeah, well, you know, they're victims. And it's like,
see, that's why, like, I think Trump woke the entire country up. Nobody in this country has ever been as politically minded as they have been over the last 5 years, and that's all because of Trump. Just no matter what that you have to give him that. No matter what the fuck else you can say about him, that's his.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So people are more aware, and we all agree on the same fundamentals of, oh, this is fucked up shit. The problem that we're having is that we're misguided on who the actual enemy is. You know what I mean? They're like, hey, it's this guy over here that's holding you down. But it's like, no, you guys are the ones who took the lobbyist money to allow this loophole for him to hold me down. You know what I mean? Like all this other shit, they try to keep it so isolated to this person is the one that's holding you down, not us. You know what I mean? If we could get past that narrative and start showing people that no, we got the core foundation is basically the fucking saying. Just leave us alone and let us do what we want. Like, let's build off of that and notice that these are the motherfuckers telling us, no, we have to do this. We have to do this. You know
Right.
I mean? I don't know of a single person or an incident that can make that big of a flashlight to wake that many people up and be like, yeah, we're pretty much the same. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially with all the rhetoric that's been shared over the last 5 years. You know what I mean? Some things have been said that you ain't taking back. There's going to be punishment for it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, it's a weird area we're in. You know, what's going to be something so big that it makes you forgive somebody who wanted to erase you from history? You know what I mean? And work side by side with that person. It's, you know.
I feel you, man. You know what? I went to visit my mom this morning, and I asked her, and I mentioned Texas. I was like, "You've been following Texas?" She's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "What's going on in Texas at the border?" She's like, "What happened?" I said, "Mom, my mom don't watch the news at all because she's so disenfranchised with the corporate media, and you know she's not a big YouTuber. She watches like specific stuff, but she don't follow news on YouTube. I'm always getting on her, Mom, you need to pay attention to what's going on." So I was telling her what was going on, and she's like, "Oh my God!" And I sent her some videos and stuff. But it just goes to there's people like my mom. She's she votes for Trump. She believes the stuff that we believe. She just don't follow news. So she had no idea what was going on in Texas because the corporate media is not reporting on it. And if they do report on it, there's a spin or a narrative that they're pushing. And so there's like I guess it's some of the older generation don't even know where to turn to find the truth. So when we talk about pushing our movement, man, like Tribe's right. Like this is a chance for there to be a real movement if people even know about it.
If they know about it.
Information warfare all the way. I had a family member just like that, Native. I talked to him recently and was like, hey, you know, heads up on this. He had no clue. This is someone that is informed generally, you know, knows everything we know. Didn't have any idea. So maybe that's one step we can all do is let our family members know, get the information out there. Like, hey, pay attention. Knock, knock, knock. Wake up. You know, go check it out. Because people are slaves to their feed. Whatever's in their feed is what they're going to see.
You're right.
And you don't get to decide what's in your feed.
I have a family Snapchat, and none of my family talks to me or sends me individual snaps, and I don't care. I prefer it that way. I want to see pictures of everybody every day. But I always post like links to this stuff that's going on. Whether they watch it or not, I send it. And I guarantee you some of them click on it. Just because. Even though my family don't want nothing to do with me because they think I'm crazy. They're getting it. Fuck them.
I mean, ain't this why we're doing live streams and shit? Is to get the word out? I mean, me and Native, you know, we sat on the phone. Man, I'm going live, man. Why? To get the word out. I mean, we talked about it. Like, let's get the word out. I mean, and what do you have? You have people, oh, you're just trying to do this. Oh, you're just trying to do it. You're trying to use this for make money on YouTube or some shit like that. It's like you can't win for losing in America, man, because there's gonna be so many people down talking everything you try to do when you try to do whatever you can try to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, God damn, let's back some motherfuckers up that are actually trying to do something. That's why I'm with it, man. I'm with these truckers. I'm with the patriots that's going down to Texas. I'm with the states that are standing up and the governors that are saying they're standing with Texas. I'm down with every single fucking channel that is putting this shit out there and saying fuck Biden and this government. There's some corrupt shit going on because you're putting the info out there one by one. We can get more and more people awake to what the fuck's going on, and you just never know, man. You never know what could spark off. We need to start backing people, man, that are trying. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Yeah.
There's just too many options, man. There's just too many fucking options. Because with the ways people's schedules work nowadays, you'll find one or two people or shows or YouTube channels, and people just get stuck on that, and they just kind of, that's part of their program. You know what I mean? And they don't want to venture out and find different points of views and all these other things. You know what I mean? It kinds of, no, we're with this side, and that's I don't need to watch anything else. So all the news that they're getting is kind of one-sided, trapping them in that echo chamber and shit. You see it a lot with the old ladies who only do Facebook. Like everything they believe. If I didn't see it on Facebook, it didn't happen. Y'all, every one of y'all know
Facebook.
You know what I mean?
But if people start talking to their families, you know, I'm not just saying YouTubers. I that's not my whole point, man. My point is anybody. If Native is talking to his kids about this and teaching them, I back that brother. Like, great fucking job, Dad. If you go outside and you talk to your neighbor, like, Niecy was in line at Walmart, and like this 60-year-old woman was just going off in Walmart talking about the same shit we're talking about. You know what I mean? Loud as a motherfucker. And I'm like, yeah, I want everybody in here to hear this woman speak. Because she's talking some true shit. And that's what we need. Like, we need to back each other up. And you know, if you see somebody talking about it and they're surrounded by a bunch of people who are going to get, like, nah, man, they're telling the truth. Like, we need to back each other up, share shit out. And I'm not saying YouTube. Don't share my shit for nothing. That's not what I mean. But when you see something that's real and that's fucked up, man, share that. Look, wake somebody else up to it. Now you're awoke to it. Give it to somebody else and tell them to share it. We can get this word out. You know what I mean?
You know, do y'all realize that we are like this close to the Hunger Games? like we're this close to the Hunger Games. I mean, we're talking balkanization. We're talking. We're like this close to the Hunger Games in real.
I'm not gonna lie, balkanization is kind of my that's my dream scenario.
It is. Mine too. It legitimately is.
It's our best case.
Look at everybody.
I mean, from my vantage point, we're all here shouting it from the rooftops. You know, that's getting it out there somewhere. And so I think this is a good space to be, you know, to get some of that info out, maybe make people think about something they didn't think about before, and maybe encourage them. Talk to your families. You know what? The grocery store is a great place to shake a hand, talk to someone, like Walmart with Niecy or whatever. You know, you'd be surprised what you find if you open up and say something. And I bet that woman probably had quite a few ears perked up. Like, yes, I hear you, girl. You know? So if there's a lady in the grocery store parking lot with her cart, offer her a little help and say, hey, how you doing? Just simple shit like that. And because just like voting, local community is the cornerstone. So lay some good foundation where you are as well.
Right. That's what it's going to come down to. If this shit does get bloody, you need to know the actual people around you, your neighbors, the people you shop with, the people you get gas with. You have to know their mindset. Are they friend or foe? Are they a liability or are they an asset? You need to fucking know these things now, because you don't want to do it when everybody's fucking packing. You know what I mean? It's not going to be as civil. So Get out there and know the people who are around you.
We completely and totally fucked up when we lost control of the media. The narrative is the first thing you control when you want to take over a population, period. Because that is the direct phone line to every single person in the area that you want to control. If you control the narrative, you control the outcome. And we fucked up because we gave up media. We lost control of all the news stations, all the news channels, the whole 9 yards. You know, and unless there can be another form of media that gets out there, whether it's Epoch News, whether it's the Daily, Tim Pool, those guys, unless they can, you know, they're making movies and making music videos, and they're awesome, they're funny as shit, they're really, really cool. But unless somebody can come along out of their own pocket, and there are people like Musk could back it, Tim Pool's got some cash that could do a brand new CNN, you know, a Patriot News Network, whatever the fuck you want to call it, to where you get the opposing view. Because the thing about a debate, if everybody's saying the same thing and agreeing about everything, it's not a fucking debate. If you're not getting both sides of the story, you have no fucking idea what's going on. You just know what you're being told. And right now we're getting one side of the story.
I think it's a dead media at this point. I think the press is just something that's, honestly, like, press is something that should go back to a few isolated channels that are owned by different entities. No cross CEO bullshit, and take it back to print. That's the problem. Is that there's too many fucking what's the difference between an actual journalist and a host? You know what I mean? Is the fact that a host can put in his opinions, and a journalist has actually got to just read the fucking story for what it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that's the problem, is that we've got 50 million fucking journalists running around out here now. You know what I mean? And it's kind of flooding the market and invalidating the whole thing. So I mean, like, at this point, is the news even worth trying to save or trying to start a new industry from? You know what I mean?
Well, I don't even know why they call it the news. It's not the news. It's the narrative.
Right.
Don't we have to fight that, though? Don't we have to fight that? I'm not going against what you're saying, Hutch, but what I'm saying is that we need some people out here fighting that, because we know communication is the strongest thing these motherfuckers got, man. We need people out here going against everything these motherfuckers is propagandizing.
Right. See, that's
new word,
how do you get it back, though? That's the problem. Like, once you've lost trust in an institution,
propagandizing, baby. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're kind of doing that. You know, we are the news. We can't trust any sellout, and they're all sellouts. So
but that's part of the reason creators either. I mean, honestly, a lot of these people are up here, you know what I mean, pushing their own kind of narrative in the same thing too. So it's,
well, that's true. That's where you choose your friends wisely. You know, I came around to meet people in every state if possible, and around the world if possible, so that if something starts going down, I'm like a text away from 50 states. Like, hey, what's for real? For real? You know what I'm saying? Like, that type of networking too. And I think it should get concentrated the more you are to your own nucleus. But we kind of do that for each other. And yeah, if you choose a zealot, you're going to get zealot thoughts, and you're going to end up way too far down the wrong end of the pendulum, either side, left or right. I don't like a zealot either way. But know some folks that have boots on the ground, so to speak, in as many locales as you can, so that you know if something is communication. Someone said a minute ago, the chat's moving on me, but communication will be the first thing that they zap.
Indeed.
Yep.
Y'all remember that the movie we all into a couple of months ago, the Obama movie, Leave the World Behind? Things they're talking about cause confusion through the communications, give all kinds of false flags at once. That's what they do all the time, except a lot of it's not false flags. They're just doing all kinds of crazy stuff all over the world all at once. All for
I
one
th-
play.
I think the government is planting false flag ideas in people to put false flag. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if something happens and we all see it for what it is, and then boom, they're like, oh, wait, they're getting too united. We need to throw some shit out there. So you never know what to believe, because then all of a sudden you got a bunch of people saying, oh, well, this is why it happened. Hey, that makes sense. Maybe that is what it was. God damn. Next thing you know, man, they done took away the fire for a movement.
Yeah.
And you got to
What's up,
think how
Sean?
many clans and insurgents are in this community of patriots. We've seen it every fucking where. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From the J6 to the who's those? Who are the dudes with the black polos and shit? Who are y'all know what I'm talking about? There's
Patriot Front.
Yeah, Patriot Front. The Michigan stuff with the kidnapping of Whitner. You know what I mean? So it's don't think they're above putting a couple
Juicy. Don't forget
pretty
Juicy.
boys on a fucking YouTube channel to try to instigate shit. You know what I mean?
Man, look
It
at
ain't hard to sound
Hannity,
like a
for
patriot.
Christ's sake.
It ain't hard to sound like a patriot on a 7-minute video. You know what I mean?
Look at Hannity, for Christ's sakes. Look how hard he went for Trump and just all out hated. And then all of a sudden, when the whole election went down and Trump was knocked out, it's like Hannity completely flipped the script. And I couldn't fucking believe it. I was like, this sellout, this motherfucker is the biggest plant in news. You know, I couldn't believe. I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about, or y'all seen what I seen, but Hannity just, man, I don't trust that dude at all anymore, man. Like, and I never did in the beginning. I don't trust none of them motherfucking media people, but that's how hard it goes up, all the way up to the top dogs. These motherfuckers flip flop. They're paid off. They are just used. I kind of respect Tucker Carlson going fucking hard, man. I don't know. I've even heard conspiracies about him, like he's connected to the Illuminati and this and that and this and that, and you know his grandfather this and his. But I mean, what do you do? How do we know the truth? They're constantly trying to confuse us. They're constantly trying to throw shit in the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it
I
weighs
just want
heavy
to go
too
back to
because
a time where we don't have to watch the news anymore. I remember a time in my life where I just lived my life and enjoyed it, and now I'm caught up trying to make sure I know what's going on every day.
I love the way Dana
Yes.
White. I love the way Dana White reacts to the mainstream media and their judgment of him and his fighters. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Free speech, bitch. I
appreciate that about him.
When to say it. Don't tell me who to fucking vote for. You be you, I'll be me. Fucking deal with it. I mean, he turned down I think it was like a $10 million endorsement deal because they wanted to enforce, sanctions on what he can and can't say. He's like, go fuck yourself.
But he accepted $100 million deal from Bud Light, and him and Kid Rock are riding their nuts hard as shit right now too.
And
so
look
I'm just saying,
what the fuck,
some Dana White.
And look what the fuck, $100 million. I would accept $100 million deals from Bud Light. I'd put that check in the bank and then decide later on how I'm gonna deal with it. But I mean, look at
rainbow flag.
Look at the damage Strickland did to Bud Light in the few weeks that. Oh my God! I mean, he fucking humiliated Bud Light, and they're paying him to do it. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And that now they're talking about Bud Light's going bankrupt. They may go tits up. They may do away with the label.
They shouldn't recover.
Yeah, let me ask y'all this. If somebody came to you right now and said, look, I don't want you to ever get on YouTube again. I don't want you to ever talk anything about the government again. I want you to just live your life and walk away. Here's $1 million. Would you do it?
Deuces.
$100 million to check out?
$1 million. Shit,
No,
500,000.
So like
never come back.
I don't know, man. That's
Absolutely, because with that $1 million, I could build so much real life shit that has a bigger impact that I could do on YouTube.
Good point.
No, you wouldn't be able to do YouTube. You wouldn't be able to, you'd have to take the $1 million and just be quiet and never say nothing else again.
That's what That's what I'm saying. I
I
wouldn't do no political shit. I would like, boom, David Koresh compound. Let's make it happen. You know what I mean?
right. And I feel you, man. But that these people, I mean, look at what was it, Carrie Lake? I mean, she was going to be offered what, 10, 20 million dollars. She said nothing. She said, you could offer me $1 billion right now, and I'm not taking it. You gotta ask yourself, how many motherfuckers in this country are willing to do some shit like that? If that was 100%. But see, even I question that, because they got me so confused in this world right now that I even think, well, what if she's a plant and that's all just a setup and all that shit's all over the TV as a distraction?
Well, Tribe, you got to understand too. She's the one that hit record when she started recording the thing. So
right. That's what I'm saying.
Some of her feed into
I didn't realize that was 11 months ago, though.
Like if nobody was recording, she'd have took that 10 million and got the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah, she held that for 11 months. Yeah. So she just.
I bet she was scared shitless, man, because she knew.
Even though I like
mentioned the cartel on the recording, and she said they're gonna have to kill me, and she knew, these people will kill me.
Yeah,
I'm about to get Hillary, and she held on that for 11 months.
I mean, because technically you could look at it, because when it went public the day after the dude retired, that gave them 11 months to come up with some kind of exit strategy and some kind of, okay, here's your retirement package. We need you to go ahead and retire or just disappear somewhere, because we're gonna fucking use you as an example to kind of prop this bitch up to make her seem like she's part of the good guys.
Oh, that's a good point.
Go down that rabbit hole if you wanted to.
That's a good point, Hutch. She could have came out to them and said, look what I got, stay off my shit. And they went ahead and patsied his ass. And oh man, she could have took the money.
Right. Get rid of him to make her look like a fucking superstar.
Exactly.
Huh.
I didn't think about it like that. That's a good point.
And see, this is why, and I'm not blaming y'all, because I do it too. We all do it. We're doing it constantly. But this is why we can't there ain't gonna be a movement. Because there's not a movement out here that we can look at and say, okay, we believe in that 100%, and this is what it is. It's like, nah, it could be this, and it could be that, and it could be, because you can't trust shit because it's so corrupt. This country is so corrupt from top
one
to
way
bottom.
or another. There's going to be order out of chaos, and it's either going to be them doing it or us. Period.
It's just like, I wish for a second I could bend Elon Musk's ear and be like, boss man, look, start something different. I know you bought Twitter, you changed it, they actually doing that, but start a news channel. You've got the money. You can get the satellite feeds. You can beam it into everybody's house. Yeah, it can be cable, whatever you want to do it, or it can be online. You got the money. You can do that. And you can start a radio-free America and just hire your own reporters, but don't just hire red reporters. One for one, give both sides of the story, give an actual true. You remember the old days on news when they would have the good guy, the bad guy, they'd sit down, they'd talk, they'd hash it out, and you got to make up your own mind what you thought. I mean, we don't do that anymore. Start a news company, but don't be biased. Just have a Democrat, have a Republican, have an independent. Instead of 5 bitches called The View, talk about the fucking rear view. Instead of 5 bitches that think the same, say the same company line, get 5 people that have completely different views and let them just sit down and give them a topic and let them talk. That I would watch that shit. I would eat that shit up. That would be some good stuff. Then you could get all the different views and no repercussions. No.
What are we doing? What
That's
are
what
we
we're
doing
doing right now, isn't it? For the most part.
But we don't get a view because who owns Google? I mean, who owns YouTube? Google. Who owns Google? I mean, the only people that see what we're talking about are the ones that they've already associated with us in our little club. They got us in a box. Remember that? What was it? Bad Boys 2. When Will Smith just put that shit in the box, we're gonna seal it up and throw it in the ocean and never talk about it again. That's where we're in a box. We're just talking to each other back and forth. We might as well all be on the phone on the conference call. Nobody else is doing it.
I've never grown from YouTube.
No.
I've never grown from you. Maybe a percentage of a percentage of a percent. Everybody that's ever watched me and us be on my shit, it all came from word of mouth. Either somebody shouted me out and pushed it that way, somebody else shouted me out. It's impossible to get good people, and I'm not saying I'm good, but I know some good people. I mean, I would love to see Native be able to reach 1 million people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I would love to see Hutch reach 1 million people.
Yeah, I'd like to see Hutch get a friend.
I mean, I'm being dead serious, man. I would love to hear their voices reach 1 million people. But I mean, we're fighting. It's 3 years now. We've been on this motherfucker fighting tooth and nail. And what happens? Your own turns on you, or somebody that's hanging out with you and shit ends up being a pedo, and or you know what I'm saying, or motherfuckers get jealous because you got 30 more people watching you than them, and they want to attack you or go behind the scenes and start a file. I mean, it's insane, man.
Yeah,
We don't need an army of 1 million, but 1 million armies. Isn't that how Native puts it?
Nobody wants to see anybody else succeed. Even our own patriots, even though they fight against the communism, they want everybody else to be equal or lesser than what they are, because that keeping up with the Joneses fucking bullshit is fucking real. And you see it in everything. Ghost, you've seen it with this crazy fucking Karen trying to get at you. Why are you up here making money when I can't make no money? You know what I mean? Like stupid shit like that. Like, who's stopping you? You know what I mean? Everybody's too worried about how everybody else is progressing, and ooh, they've got this shiny shit, or they've got more friends or more followers over here, so they must be, let me just shit on them instead of actually putting in the fucking work. You know, that's every fucking one of us has a little bit of, you know, and it's
you smoke too much. Oh, you say too many cuss words. Oh, I can't stand. Why don't you stop for a second and hear what a motherfucker's saying, man, and start backing the people that are really caring about some real shit, man. You know what I'm saying? And fuck me. I'm just using me as an excuse, but seriously, like, it's ridiculous, man. How we need to start sticking together on some real shit, not on some punk shit, on some real shit. Start backing some motherfuckers, man. Start supporting motherfuckers, man.
I had when I first started with YouTube, my channel manager, the name I will not speak, but she's probably in here right now, pushed me to link it to Facebook. So I did the whole Facebook thing for about a day and a half. And I linked my channel to one of these North Carolina prepping Facebook communities, and I linked a couple of my videos. And I had a Karen or Kevin, I can't remember male or female, but they sent a comment to my videos, and they were like, I made it 45 seconds in until I saw you spitting tobacco juice in your bottle, and I just had to unsubscribe and not follow your channel. I'm like, bitch, you do realize this is North Carolina, right? That's what we do. We literally, that tobacco is what we fucking do.
If you can't handle that, then I don't even need you around me anyway. Like, if you can't handle a cuss word, if you can't handle somebody spitting some tobacco, if you can't handle somebody smoking a joint, come on. You don't belong around where I'm going to be anyway, man, because that's just, you definitely ain't going to be able to handle what's coming.
Yeah, she didn't comment on the content of the video or nothing about being a prepper. It was, oh my God, you chew tobacco. I can understand if she was like from like, I don't know, Portland, Oregon or something. Oh my God, he's chewing tobacco. No, this is fucking North Carolina. This is literally all we do is tobacco and moonshine and NASCAR.
I mean, you're sitting there trying to control a motherfucker. You're not about freedom. You're trying to tell that motherfucker what to do. Like, stop it.
Hilarious.
And the gall, like if I go to somebody's channel and I don't like something about them personally, I don't like the way they look, or I don't like the way they say certain words, or I'm not going to get on there and attack them and tell them, man, look, I can't stand the way your nose looks, man. I just cannot watch your channel. I just click the fuck off the channel and I move on and I don't think about it no more.
Right. Why would you
What
spend
makes
your time
people
typing
think that they
email?
should be able to fucking get it? Just it blows my mind, man.
Yeah. Like, why would you spend your time typing that email? Like that chick that dogged me out, the singing girl, about doing shirts. Why would you waste your time typing that email to somebody you've never spoken to? I've never interacted with you before in my life, and you're gonna write me a 2-page email.
But that's a patriot, damn it. Come on now.
Like,
and I'm not saying about debating or you know, if we're talking about stuff and you think different and you think I'm dead wrong on something, like I appreciate that. I'll thank a person for their comment. Like, dude, I thought that was the stupidest thing you ever said. But man, that's what's up, man.
I've been on the panel with you guys.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we disagree all the time, and we just disagree and fucking move on.
Right.
You know, like, motherfucker, I ain't speaking to you ever again and kick you off my panel. That's not what grown folks do.
What the fuck does she care if you sell T-shirts or not?
And here's the thing. Well, she sells shirts. Nobody's buying her shit.
Yeah. I mean, we anybody with half a brain would automatically be able to pinpoint there's problems with this person on a different level on something else anyway.
Like me being money hungry, taking advantage of the community, selling T-shirts. By the way, we are 2 hours and 10 minutes into this stream, and I did not bring up T-shirt once. Prepper Tribe did it first, I think.
Oops.
it's like, you know, I mean, I don't even know who this woman is, and she was all in my shit, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? What the fuck?
You should have said, I'm sorry my spitting offends you. You must swallow.
Right?
Be a lady, damn it.
Wow.
It's hard. It's hard when you read that shit and you.
It does.
You know, I mean, the shit will affect. I mean, you got to be tough. You got to have thick skin and shit. Like, it ain't gonna be. But sooner or later, I mean, the shit gets old, man. Like, now I'm to the point where, and it's not about what a motherfucker says. Just you can tell what type of person a motherfucker is, and it's like, nah, man, I just don't ever want to see you again. So I'm just gonna block you. I don't really care about what you said or nothing, but you just showed what type of person you are, and I don't need that around me. I'm on some other shit, man. I'm just gonna block you. I'm not even gonna say nothing back to you. I'm not gonna try to hurt your feelings because I know that's what you're looking for. You just want somebody to argue with or some shit. I don't even know who the fuck you are. Holla at, and if I do know who you are, and you just try, man, I'm just gonna holla at you.
Right. You gotta think about how hard it was.
Whether it's good attention or bad attention, it doesn't matter. It's still attention. It gives it's something to actually connect with. Oh my God, somebody's talking to me, even though I'm just talking shit. But it's that interaction that they crave. You know what I mean? Because they're not dealing in the real world.
And I'm not doing that, man. I'm gonna give my attention to the people that are in the chat and actually good people, solid people, people that are always trying to support a motherfucker in what he's doing. Even if they disagree, even if they debate me, even if they give me a hard time, they're still there all the time supporting a motherfucker. You know what I mean? You can tell that, you know, there ain't no hate involved. Like I'm down with what you're doing, Tribe, but you said some stupid shit tonight and got on my nerves, and I'm gonna let you know. Hey, I can dig that. I'll never block you for that. But
yeah, that was just, I mean, because I have people in the chat all the time, Ghost, what's your email? So she had to legitimately search to get my email, to send me an email. She didn't do a comment in the chat. She had to go find my email, then email me. I'm like, who does that? Like, that's a legitimate Karen. It's like, what the fuck? You know, and I think I took it personal because if she would have watched my channel, if she would have been watching my videos from the beginning when I first started doing the T-shirts, she would have saw me building my shit by hand, you know, learning how to do this shit on my own. So how the fuck are you going to come knock somebody for trying just because people are buying my shit, but they're not buying your shit? You know,
I ain't gonna lie, that is the biggest thing that's pissed me off. That's kind of why I've been taking a break from the lives, because I've been getting snippy with motherfuckers, and I don't mean to. But I was going to do a video on this, but it's literally, you have to deal with so many comments and so many know-it-alls and so many, you should have done this, or you should have bought this, or, you know what I mean? Where it's like, you literally, have no idea my situation, what I've already done, you know, the reason why I had to use these things, et cetera, because you want to, everything you know about me is from this little statement that I made or this little video that you see, but you don't know any of the backstory, but automatically you know everything about my life that's going to fix my problems.
Right.
After a while, that shit fucking adds up, and you're just like, I will smack a motherfucker.
Yes.
People,
I feel that, man.
I love the feedback, man. It's like the negative there's legitimately no reason to give somebody negative feedback on a video because it's called YouTube for a reason. This specific YouTube channel you guys are on right now is mine. It's my that's why it's called YouTube. This is my little corner of the world. So to come in there and take your time and give negative comments without doing research is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my life. I just don't understand why people would do that. Like, it blows my mind. I mean, go find something else to fucking do.
Envy, jealousy, loneliness, just the Karenism.
Right?
Yeah.
They want to be in control of something. So well, I mean, how many creators do you see that bow down to that shit? They'll get 1 or 2 emails talking about, oh, that picture behind you is filth. God wouldn't like that. Or you said this. And they'll change their whole fucking character and be like, I'm sorry I had this picture up here. Let me take it down. Or I'm sorry I said this if it offended anybody. You know what I mean? And people thrive off of that shit because they're like, oh my God, I can literally change the outcome of something that's being watched by insert number of subs here. You know what I mean? And people get addicted to that shit. They think, oh, I've got that much power that I can literally change the direction of somebody's channel, somebody's life. You know what I mean? Just by telling them what they should be doing. I know stuff because I change people. You know what I mean?
Right. And it was crazy. I mean, because like everybody on this panel has been with me since the beginning of my YouTube journey. Like legitimately, all 4 of you have been with me since the very beginning. And like at the very beginning, Tribe knows I took fucking everything personal. I was looking for addresses. I was going to go fuck some motherfuckers up. I was taking it all personal, like fucking ruthless. And then I took a little bit of break and I came back and I, a little bit agitated, and then things were changing in my life and I'm doing this and that and the other. And I gave up on reading most of not all the comments, but some of the comments. And I tried to quit taking it personal. But now since it's been a year since I did any kind of content, prepper content or political content. I just been doing shirts and canning food, and I watched my subscribers drop. Like I went from almost 3,000 subscribers. Now I barely got 2,000. Every week I drop subscribers because I'm not putting content out for YouTube to do their deal with. I'm just doing live streams. So every week I'm losing subs. And you know what, Tribe? It goes back to day one. You were like, don't fucking worry about them numbers. Don't fucking worry about the subs. Don't even look at that fucking number. Get your 1,000, get monetized, and quit fucking looking at it. So right now it's like, I don't care. I got a great core of members that support me fucking weekly and monthly. I mean, they're there every week. We do members only streams. We give shit away. They're there every week, and they're fucking rock solid. And I get more feel good energy from just doing that than worrying about trying to get 100,000 subs or 200,000 subs. It'd be great if I had that many. Maybe one day I will. I don't know. But I'm not even sure if I want to commit that hard, and I don't have that much time in my day with all the shit that I'm doing to pop out 3 or 4, content videos a day, or even 2 or 3 a week, so it's like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. All I know right now is I ain't stressing about it. I'm printing shirts, I'm canning food, I'm teaching kids. I do the YouTube when I can, if it fits into my schedule. If it does, it does. If it don't, it don't. I ain't gonna stress about it.
I just want to feel comfortable.
Right.
Even if I'm uncomfortable, I want to feel when I do my shit, I got to be comfortable with myself. And that's all it comes down to, man. If I start feeling uncomfortable about myself, then I'm going to chill the fuck out and back up and be like, nah, man, something ain't right, man. I'm falling for something. I'm trying to do this too much, or I don't. Now I'm trying to be something that I'm not. Fuck that, man. I can't go out like that. You know what I mean? You got to constantly keep an eye on yourself, man, because you could slip in a heartbeat. You know, you get caught up in this YouTube shit, man. Numbers and this and that and this and that, man. Fuck all that, man. Gotta keep it real, man. Gotta keep it real.
It is so easy to get caught up into it and bring your feeling. Once your feelings get into the mix, it's over after that. Once you bring your feelings to the table, I mean, fuck, somebody's got to eat. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, part of that dopamine rush is getting the thumbs ups and the hearts and the positive reinforcement, the participation trophy, you know, whether it's in the chat or in a comment or Instagram or Snapchat, wherever people do all those thumbs and hearts and things, you know what I mean? People rest their value on that. And so, and even a thumbs down, like I think Hutch said, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. It's just being seen in some sad way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I mean, I enjoy it just because I get to hang out with, you know, good people like you. But like the meetups, like legitimately the best thing I've gotten out of YouTube is the meetups that I've been to, the ones we did here in Missouri. That is legitimately the best thing I've ever gotten out of YouTube. Other than knowing that I only live a couple miles from native. That's pretty cool too. But like the meetups are just like it's like legitimately a huge percentage of the people in chat I've met in person, gave a hug, shook their hand, you know, whatever. And that's like, before I ever went to a meetup, it was like I saw everybody in the chat, you know, and I associated names with a personality. But when you meet them in person and you get to hang out with them, drink a beer, sit by the fire, smoke a weed, you know, whatever, that's like a whole different level. It's like a whole different world. So if you're a part of the community and you get a chance to go to a meetup or the opportunity, I highly suggest you go. And don't be scared that there's going to be, you know, people infiltrating and feds. And look, the last thing you want to do is come to a mountain in the middle of fucking nowhere, you know, with 50 or 60 people from the community, and then you have to keep up your fake persona because it doesn't hold up. It takes about 2 minutes and it doesn't fucking hold up. So if you can go to a meetup and meet these people, that's how the community grows. That's how you build relationships that last, that actually mean something. It's because everybody here that I've met in person, you know, it's completely different than somebody that you haven't met in person. Because I'm not saying there's like a huge level of trust, but it's like I met you, I know you, and you know fake. I mean, you can be on YouTube and you can pretend to be whoever the fuck you want to be. But when you show up on the mountain, all that shit goes to the side. I mean, the fakeness, it shows. I mean, you can tell.
Hey, Grayson
and Grit.
Left you a super thank you.
Yeah, super thing. Grace and Grit, thank you.
Grace and Grit, look at you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Dudley.
My repulsive societal behavior of tobacco spitting. Awesome. I think that's one of the best super chat comments I've ever received right there. That's pretty badass.
Dudley.
Thank you very much. Yes, I mean it's pretty cool. Dudley, what's going on here? Thank you very much, Dudley. Appreciate that. And I also appreciate those boobs, you know, just out there in the open in the thumbnail. I love the way you snuck that in on YouTube, by the way.
Flag.
Pretty sneaky.
True.
Oh man. Hey, let me throw this at y'all just to kind of bring it back around to what we were talking about earlier. I think it was Tribe, you were the one you were talking about, you know, always wondering like what should we be doing? Like we're seeing all this stuff going on. Question is this is just for all of us, man. Because I ask myself this all the time. Like what are we willing to sacrifice? Like to give up? What are we willing to invest? Maybe that's a better word. Into building something to combat this stuff that we're seeing. You know what I'm saying? Because we've said this before. There's no like one place we can all just go to, congregate, put our kits on, get our weapons and go and fight it. That's not the fight that's before us. Like, we can't do that. There's nowhere to go. There's no one place for us to go. But we got this thing like that's going on in Texas, and we're all behind it, and this could grow and blow up into something nationwide. But each and every one of us personally can be doing something. We can be investing in something and building something, like the communications network that Tribe is getting going, so that we can set that up. All of us, absolutely. The campground network idea that I'm trying to get going, and the community building stuff that Hutch is doing. All of that is real world shit that will put us in a position to where we're not dependent on their system anymore. That's the problem. Even if Trump wins, man, even if Trump won and he could be president for 12 more years or 20 more years and be good and do things, we're still in this system. They're still going to tax us to death. They're still going to rob us at every turn. They're going to take taxes out of our paycheck, and then we're going to go and buy something, and they're going to tax whatever we got left. And at the end of the year, they're going to take more taxes, and when we die, they're going to tax that. They're going to, we're still in this system that they have devised, by the banks to control us. If I always say this, man, if we don't pay like taxes on our property, we're gonna have a problem with the government. I mean, we're still in their system, but if what can we do now? Like, like Tribe put that question to us earlier. It takes investment. Nothing's going to happen with good intentions. Nothing's going to happen, with us saying, well, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to train so that one day when it happens, I'll be ready. Well, like, what are we going to do proactively? I'm just putting this question out there. I don't have any answers. I'm trying to do what I think I can be doing, but I'm putting this out there to all of us. In the end, it's going to take an investment. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about yourselves. Like, you're going to have to commit to doing something somewhere where you are. I mean, we all are. So I'm just putting that question out there. Like, we all have ideas, and they're all great. It's going to take an investment. So I just want to put that question out there to all of us. And I'm going to have to bounce soon. I got to go check on
the biggest hurdle I see is that, like we were talking about, all the sheep that are going to kind of be in the way, just going with whichever way the current takes them. Those distractions and those people are beating us down and making us lose sight of, technically, we only need 3%. You know what I mean? So it's you're gonna have you got to go through so many NPCs to find the people who would actually stand up enough to do something. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you can't really do anything alone. But finding somebody who would actually stand up with you is the bitch of it. You know what I mean? Like, of course, you can get 100,000 people on YouTube in a chat and some of these things. How, yeah, we're there with you. It's easy to say in a chat, but in real life, you can't find it. You know what I mean? That's the problem. It's weeding through the sheep to find the motherfuckers who are actually down to do something.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. We've been on here for 3 years. And there's never been a major movement. There's never been something major that helped America get back. Like, when it comes down to it, this YouTube shit's entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which we want it to be more than that. But I mean, I'll be honest. I'm ignorant. I got an 8th grade education. I don't know how to do nothing to get nothing. So the only thing I know how to do is get on this motherfucker and run my mouth and tell people what I believe and how I feel. That's it. I'm not no genius. I'm not no visionary or you know what I'm saying? Like, don't look at me like because I don't know how to do it. So only thing I can do is just run my trap and try to hang out and try to support others who are trying to support people I believe in, and you know what I mean. What else do we do, man? What else do we do? I feel you, Native. I don't know what the fuck we're supposed to do, man. That's why I said I ask this shit every day, like, how can we change this shit, and what can I do? It just feels like it's hopeless. Like there's nothing. What the fuck can I do? You know what I'm saying? Besides teach my kids, hey, believe like this and believe in yourself and don't fall for the okie doke. What else can you do in life at this point in this country with all this shit that's going on? Yes, that's damn near feeling hopeless. Helpless.
I believe in the adage to get your own house in order, and that is yourself, and build it outward. If you don't love and take care of yourself and grow food, and if something happened and you can't even take care of yourself, how are you really going to be an asset to any other community? Or if you don't have a bunch of money or whatever to bring to the table, you better have skills. You better have some kind of skill and something that enhances the better good of whatever the goal is at that time. So I really think people got to get themselves straight. Looking out, the problem to me is that we can't really identify an enemy. If we keep saying that it's fellow Americans who believe something different than we believe, whether it's religion or politics or gayness or whatever, what we're doing by doing that is talking about our allies, or is us, this whole country. We have to drop that shit and get on some common goal, some page. I don't know how. I'm just thought experimenting here. But a lot of this division is making us enemies of each other and ourselves. And that is not going to be sustainable at all if we're trying to win.
I mean, but we do have to realize that the mindset of communism has a very strong fucking hold right now. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people need to be sacrificed for the cause. You know what I mean? It comes down to who's worth helping and who's trying to wake up, as opposed to, okay, you're just cannon fodder at this point. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I think my mindset for this entire clusterfuck of a situation we live in right now, I used to be a really big boxing fan, and I used to watch a lot of MMA and stuff like that. And I always loved Chuck Liddell because he was a master at the counter punch. He could take a punch and he would lop you out, and I use that analogy because that's the situation that I feel like we're in right now. We're being punched right now with this border incursion, this invasion, and not knowing who's on our side and what the fuck the government's doing. So right now we're getting punched in the fucking mouth. We need to be ready to react with a really good counter punch. And we can't influence what they're doing right now because it's already been done. There's 22 million illegals in here that we can't account for. So and they're planning something, because if they weren't, they wouldn't fucking be here. All right. There's a reason that hundreds of billions of dollars have been invested by the world, by the entire globe to bring everybody in through the southern border. There's a reason for that. We just don't know what it is. We think we do. We might be right. We might be wrong. We don't know. It could be a multi-tiered reason, but we need to be ready to swing back, and that's my thing. I want to take in as much information, get as much intel as I possibly can, and be ready to fucking swing back. I want that counter punch. It needs to be good, and it's going to be local, because when it kicks off, we're not going to be able to communicate as we are right now. I mean, we're already in a box. I mean, we communicate with each other. We all feel the same way about a whole bunch of shit. So we're basically just bouncing stuff, off the wall. But, it's well,
you can't talk about solutions without being labeled a terrorist. So
exactly.
Right.
Do you got here's a crazy trivia point I just learned fucking last night. Do y'all realize that Trump applied for a patent, a copyright patent for Make America Great Again before he ran for office? He applied for the patent from MAGA in, I think, 12, 13, 14 before he ever ran for president. He's got he has a copyright on the phrase "Make America Great Again" before
there's clips of him back in like 91, 92 where he was talking about someday I'm going to be president. Like I've seen like 3 or 4 clips where even back in like 89 with like his first wife or some shit, he was talking about I'm going to be president someday.
Richard Nixon reached out to Donald Trump to run for president when he was in exile. Richard fucking Nixon was like, this cat's got it. You know, Nixon was a crook just like the rest of the politicians. He just got caught. So, I mean, there's no distinction there. But yeah.
But what he got caught for wasn't really something that was that bad. You know what I mean? Like, he's not the one that committed the crime. He was just like, oh, damn. So, like, even if he exposed the crime, he wouldn't have got in trouble. You know,
compared to nowadays, that was nothing.
It was nothing.
You know,
that's bullshit.
Yes.
It's like whatever. He got a medal for doing that. Now it was creative. But yeah, it's I don't know, man. I'm just ready for the counterpunch. I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be I think once it comes out, I mean, balkanization, I'm with Hutch on this. I think balkanization would probably be like, with the cards that are on the table right now, that's our best outcome. Simply because it's a smaller group of people to deal with, and your voice would actually matter a little bit more than it matters now. But I don't know, man. It's going to be, the future's going to be really fucking weird and fluid. It's going to change quick.
I ain't trying to call it short on you nothing, brother, but man, I'm exhausted, man. Seriously, I ain't had hardly any sleep in the past couple of days, man. I was damn near falling asleep before I jumped on here with you, but I made myself do it. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it, my brother.
And I appreciate hanging out with all y'all, man. This has been great. It's good to see you too, Roots. Haven't seen you in a minute. Hung out, you know what I mean? But I appreciate you, Ghost. Appreciate you, Hutch, Native, Roots, everybody in the chat, man. I love y'all, man. We're gonna keep it going though. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep running my mouth, so I ain't gonna quit. Shit, it is what it is. But y'all have a good night. Might see y'all tomorrow, you know, Sunday, 8 o'clock, man. Holla at me.
I know Native's getting tired, and I'm about 40-something minutes late to start the members only stream. So I guess we'll stick a fork in this one. I want to say, everybody on the panel, I appreciate you guys coming up here. It was an awesome fucking stream. I loved it. Thanks to everybody in the chat. I'm gonna switch over. Actually, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then I'm gonna switch over to the members only stream and do some giveaways. So if you're membered up, cool. I'll see you there in a few minutes. If you're not and you want to member up, do that. You're all welcome to join us, and we'll continue to chat over there for a little while until I get too tired to talk anymore. But appreciate you, Hutch. Thanks, Native. Try, appreciate it. Roots, thank you very much. Everybody's invited to the members only, and if you're not membered up, do it. If you want to, you don't have to. It's not a requirement.
Member up. Get a t-shirt, damn it.
Definitely gonna be giving away some shit. Gonna be giving away some shit. It'll be fun.
All right, y'all. Good night. Salute.
And some good stories. Good night, tribe.
Night off.
New shirt design and some good shirt stories. So I'll see you guys over there in a minute. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and we'll kick off the members only live here in about 10 minutes. Good night, y'all. Appreciate you.